Hey guys, how are you?
Hey
We
guys.
are Amy and Jordan, and if you are here for the webinar presentation of 5 posing secrets to flatter every body, we want you to know that you are in the right place. We are going to get started in just a few minutes. Do us a favor though, before we get started, just confirm for us in the chat one more time that you can hear us, that you can see us. Equally as important.
The two most important things right now.
Probably more important that you can see Amy than me, much better looking than this mug. So just make sure you can hear us and see us. And if you haven't had a chance yet, jump into the chat, say hello to your fellow classmates, and just get to know each other a little bit. Let us know where you're from and what type of photography that you do. We love getting to know you guys ahead of class, just so we know who's in here. And so we just want to kind of get things rolling. So we're going to kind of peek over here in the chat so you guys can hear us good.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Diana, Britt, Peter. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Natasha.
Perfect.
Tori, Whitney, Adam, PJ. Hello. We're so glad that you guys are here.
And so if you haven't had a chance to jump in and throw in what kind of photography you guys do. So whether you're a wedding photographer, a portrait photographer, seniors, maternity, families, jump in there and let us know what kind of photography you guys do.
Becky from Michigan. Hello. Charlie, also from Michigan. Love
you
it.
guys are so awesome. We get really
Kelsey
nervous.
from Wisconsin. Hello.
We get really nervous for this. And so when we see your comments in the chat, and just your energy and your excitement, it reminds us why we love this so much, and it helps calm us down.
Linda from Ohio, thank you.
I think we saw somebody from like South Africa, or that's awesome. So if you're from somewhere, if you're like from somewhere not in the United States or North America, definitely let us know because that's so cool.
And from Texas, love it. Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, Phoenix.
Oh, thank you. My nerves are like calming already. Canada, awesome. Couple Canadians.
New York City, Mexico, love it. Montana, Alabama.
I think I saw Germany. We love Germany.
Oh, yes. The food there is so good. Montana.
Brazil.
Georgia.
Oh, nice.
Brazil. So fun. Tennessee.
Ooh, I saw Phoenix. I got to give a shout out to Phoenix right now.
We got some hometown people. Love our Phoenix crew. Love it. Colorado, St. Louis, Florida. Love it.
Wait, I think, did you just see Fiji?
Ooh,
I saw Fiji.
We're coming to visit.
The closest I've ever gone to Fiji is the Fiji bottle that's in the hotel that I never touch because they charge you like $5 for it. Yeah, that's as close as I've ever been to Fiji.
Nantucket, so cool. Australia, love it.
We went on a cruise one time and the director was Australian, the cruise director. And so every time the cruise director walked on stage, everybody said, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. I don't know. That's all I know about Australia.
Fun fact.
Kangaroos, things like that.
I'm seeing lots of portrait photographers in here. Love that. So good.
Ooh,
we got some wedding
the person from Fiji
photographers.
said, come visit us anytime. Send me an email.
Yeah, Malia. Thanks, Malia. Love it. We got lots of portrait photographers, wedding photographers in the mix, everything, senior photographers. Love it. So fun.
Awesome, guys. Cool. We are going to get started in 1 minute.
It's so fun getting to know you all. Thanks so much for letting us know where you're from, what you love to do. It seriously helps us so much. Because
Haley said, you're the best teachers ever and you still get nervous. Yes.
Oh, so nervous
Very
every
nervous.
time. It's really strange because we can't see you, right? So having your comments in the chat seriously mean the world. It makes us feel so much better knowing there's real humans.
Awesome, you guys. Okay, so we are going to get started right now. And so before we get started, I just wanted to let you know, we are going to go ahead and shut the chat down as soon as we switch over and share our screen with you. And then when we are done with the class, we will come back on and you will get to see us again. But I just want to let you know, we're going to shut the chat down in just a second here. And so you will see some slides pop up on your screen and you'll be able to hear us, but you won't be able to see us anymore. And so we're going to do that right now.
Instead, you'll be able to see our screen.
Okay.
So we're super excited.
All right, we're going to make that happen. We'll see you guys in just a second.
See you in a sec.
Okay, guys, we are so excited to welcome you to this free online class 5 posing secrets to flatter every body. We are Amy and Jordan, your instructors for this class, and we are so excited to dive in and to get started. So before we get going, let me just really quickly, because we are former elementary school teachers, we like to be organized. And so what I want to do is give you a layout of the agenda for this free online class so that you know exactly what to expect in your time with us. And so we have 3 things that are coming up in this class. First, we have a free online class. We are so excited to dive in and share 5 of our posing secrets that will help you flatter everybody on every shoot that you're on. And as people who believe in promises made and promises kept, we know that you made a sacrifice to be with us for this free class. And so we want to honor that with some really powerful content that we know is going to change your posing and change your photography for the better. Once we're done with the free class, we do want to let you know that we are going to have a really special offer for you as a thank you for those of you who have spent an hour with us on this free online class. So definitely keep an eye out for that at the end of our class time together. Once we have an opportunity to share that special offer with you, we are going to jump into a time of bonus Q&A just as an additional thank you for giving up your time to be here with us. And so we are so excited for that time of Q&A because anything that didn't quite click or make sense during the free class, that is going to be your time to ask us those questions. And so go ahead and write questions down as we're going. And then as we answer them, cross them off. And anything we don't answer, specifically as it relates to posing, we would love to answer those for you during the bonus Q&A time. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that this is a safe place. Like we said, as former elementary school teachers, it is important for us that this is a safe place to learn. And sometimes when we're all behind our screens, we forget that there are human beings behind every single one of those names. And so we just ask that if you're part of this free online class, that you commit to staying positive, kind, and humble, whether it's just in your own heart as you're listening or in the chat box. And so we just want to encourage you on those things. And whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned pro, let's just remember one thing. We all started at the beginning. And so let's treat each other with compassion and kindness so that everyone can feel comfortable to ask questions without judgment. We can already tell from the chat that you guys are those kind of people, and we're so excited to have you here with us. And the last thing I just want to mention is, guys, this is a no troll zone. Because Amy and I believe in a safe places on the internet where we can grow and learn together, just please know that you are safe here, and this is a no troll zone. The other thing I just want to let you know is that we would really ask that you eliminate all distractions at this time. We know that your time is valuable. You're busy. You got a million things going on. We're so honored that you're here with us, but we also know that you made a sacrifice to be here, and we want you to get the most out of your time because we know the things you're going to learn are going to make an immediate difference in your photography. And so what we would ask you to do is go ahead at this time is close all the other windows on your computer. Turn off all of your notifications. If you can, close the door that you're in, put on headphones. If you're anything like us, you might have a dog or a cat that requires your attention. You maybe have children. We don't, but we just have some really cute cats, and sometimes they bother us. And so we are in a separate room from them right now to make sure that that doesn't happen. So anything you can do to turn off your phone, email notifications, all those things that distract and ding, go ahead and get rid of those so you can be fully present to learn. And lastly, grab a notepad or whatever you use to take notes because we are going to come at you with a ton of content, and we move fast because we want to make sure we can give you as much value as possible in this free online class. The next thing I just want to mention is if you have technical difficulties, remember, we are streaming over the internet, and sometimes that presents problems and technical difficulties. And so if for some reason your screen freezes, try refreshing it. And if that doesn't work, check the browser that you're viewing in. Google Chrome is the best browser to watch this free online class. And so try refreshing. And if that doesn't work, try Google Chrome. So make sure that you don't have any of those technical difficulties. And so we just wanted to start by introducing ourselves. We are your teachers. We are Amy and Jordan Demos, all the way from Arizona in the United States of America. I didn't think I would have to say in the United States of America, but we have people visiting us literally right now from all over the world, including far off places like Fiji and really cool stuff
Australia.
Like that. Yeah, love those
Mexico.
Aussies. And so we just want to introduce ourselves. We are Amy and Jordan from Arizona in the United States, and we are a husband and wife photography team out here. But here's the thing, is that we didn't always start as a husband and wife photography team.
And actually, at the beginning of our marriage, we were newlywed elementary school teachers, like Jordan mentioned. And we not only were elementary school teachers, we taught at the same school in next door classrooms. So I taught fourth grade and Jordan taught fifth grade, which is around the time that I fell in love with photography. And pretty quickly, I was able to rope Jordan in. So in those early years of marriage, we worked our full-time jobs as elementary school teachers, and we worked nights and weekends to build our photography business from the ground up. So we really worked our tails off around the clock to build our part-time hustle into a full-time six-figure dream job. And that's come with some really cool things like freedom and flexibility to live the type of life we've always wanted and being able to serve the most incredible people. And it's also come with some moments we never could have imagined when we first started, like getting flown overseas or shooting a celebrity wedding that was featured in People magazine or photographing a wedding over $1 million in budget. And while accomplishing our dream has been really fun, it hasn't been nearly as fulfilling for us as helping other photographers accomplish their dreams. And that's really the thing, is that we were teachers first. So even though we left the physical classroom quite a while ago, teaching is always going to be our life's work. And so that's why we're so excited to have you on this free online training, 5 posing secrets to flatter every body. So we want to start by asking you guys a question. We just want you to stop and think for a minute. What's the first thing that you notice when you look at one of your photos? So one of the photos that you took, when you first glance at it, what's the first thing that you notice? Is it the light? I think for us, that's probably our favorite thing, right? When we're looking at the photos we took, we're like, oh my gosh, the light. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. Or maybe for you, the first thing you notice is the composition, right? You love composing in different ways. And when you look at a photo, it's the first thing you notice. Or maybe it's that awesome depth of field, right? Maybe it's that bokeh, that dreamy background. Or maybe for you, the first thing that you notice when you look at a photo is just the joy, the way that the photo makes you feel. You love all the emotion, all the moments, and maybe that's what you think of first when you're looking at one of the photos that you took. So now I want you to think about that in comparison to this next question. What's the first thing you notice when you are in the photo? So not when you take the photo, but when you're in the photo. Honestly, what's the first thing you notice? If someone handed you a photo and you're in it, what's the first thing you notice? If you're anything like us, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but it's true, right? It's yourself. If someone hands me a photo and I'm in it, the first thing I do is I look at myself in the photo, right? And I hate to admit this too, but the first thing I look at are the places where I feel really insecure, right? I'm starting to look and assess very quickly, like in milliseconds, like, oh shoot, like do my hips look big? Do my arms look big? Oh shoot, does my face look okay? Like, does my smile look stupid? Like all those insecurities just rush through my mind. It's one of the first things I think of when I see a picture of myself. I'm wondering if you can relate to that, if that's the first thing that you notice when you look at a picture of yourself. I'm guessing that it is. And the reason I ask that question is because we really believe that's how our clients feel. We really believe that when we put ourselves in our clients' shoes, they are feeling that way every time they look at one of the photos that we took. So we want to think through very carefully how we're able to serve our clients the best way possible. And we really believe, knowing that even though we as photographers, the first thing we like to think about is the light or the composition or the bokeh or the depth of field or all the fun photography stuff, right?
Right now, all I'm noticing is that amazing blue light on Nikki. Fantastic.
We might think of those things, but we know that the first thing our clients do are the same things that I do when I look at a picture of myself, which is putting ourselves in our client's shoes and looking at, do I look okay? Do I look weird? What's going on? And we really believe that if we can focus on flattering our clients' features, then our clients will be free to focus on the way they felt instead of fixating on their flaws, because it's only human nature that when you first look at a photo, the first thing that's so easy to do is fixate on your flaws, right? Don't we all do that? And we don't want our clients doing that. We want our clients to be able to look at the photo we took and instead Let all of those feelings just disappear so that they can be free to focus on the way that they felt, the way that they feel about the people they're in the photo with. That's what's important to us. And so we know that this topic can sound a little shallow, honestly, flattering people's bodies, right? But the reason that it's such an important topic is we really believe that flattering people's bodies when we're shooting and being really aware of that, it's not an exercise in vanity. It's a recognition of reality, right? It's a recognition of knowing that our clients feel the same way that we feel when we look at a photo of us. So what can we do to make sure that our clients love the way they look so that they're free to focus on the way that they felt in the photo? And you know, the thing is if you don't love the way that you look in your photos, you're likely to not want to hire that photographer again, right? And that's how our clients feel. If our clients don't love the way that they look in their photos, they're likely to not ever hire us again for repeat business. This is especially important for our portrait photographers out there who could get the same clients year after year and build an incredible amount of word of mouth referrals year after year after year. And that's the thing about word of mouth is that if your clients don't love your photos, if they're not raving about the photos and wanting to tell everybody about them, then that's a big problem, right? We really need our clients to share their photos, be excited to post them on social media, be excited to put them in frames, hang them on the wall, and to tell their friends and family about their experience with us, right? And not only that, if our clients don't love our photos, they're really unlikely to hang a photo that we took on the wall. And isn't that why we're here in the first place? To share with generations to come. When I think of the photo that you're looking at right here, the photo of Paul and Nikki on their wedding day, I actually know for a fact that this photo is hanging on the wall in their house. And I love to think about what it's going to be like when Paul and Nikki's kids, future kids, right? They don't have any kids yet, but when their future kids grow up in a home where they get to walk by a picture like this in a frame every day, what an incredible way for them. Such a powerful, they always say that a photo is worth 1,000 words, right? That it's the strongest message there is. What a strong message for Paul and Nikki's future kids to grow up, seeing how much their parents loved each other, getting to have a glimpse into their love story on the first day of the first chapter as husband and wife, right? And not only that, what about when Paul and Nikki's kids grow up and have kids of their own? This photo can still be on the wall, right? This photo could still be on the wall. And as Paul and Nikki age and they don't look like this anymore, now they're starting to look more like a grandma and a grandpa. This photo lasts beyond anything else, that their grandkids now have a glimpse into their love story. But here's the reality, right? Is none of that happens if Nikki doesn't like her arms in this photo. She's not hanging it on the wall because Nikki is just like us. If I have a photo of myself and I'm feeling really insecure about the way I look in the photo, I'm not going to blow it up and put it on the wall, right? So we need to be able to serve our clients well by making sure that we've eliminated all the distractions that might distract them from being able to love the photo. And honestly, there's even a deeper problem with this, right? The deeper problem here is that when we're not focused on flattering our clients' bodies while we're posing them, there's a deeper problem that we don't even know. And it's kind of like a silent problem. We might not even be aware that that problem exists. And that problem might be that maybe your clients really like their photos. That doesn't sound like a problem, right? It doesn't sound like a problem that your clients like their photos. But think about this. When you go to a restaurant or when you go to a movie theater and somebody asks you how your experience was, if let's say you go to a restaurant and someone says, "Oh, how was the food? How was your experience there?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, it was nice. Oh yeah,
it was good. It was all right.
Good. Yeah. How was that movie that you saw? Oh yeah, it was a good movie. Yeah, it was nice. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it." Is that like a really compelling reason to go see that movie or go to that restaurant? That's actually a big problem for that restaurant and for that movie theater, right? If you're not raving and being like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, it was the best burger I've ever had. I would eat one of those burgers every day for the rest of my life."
I would pay 3 times for that burger what I pay at the place I normally go to because the burger is that good.
You guys need to cancel your Friday night plans and go get this burger. Do you hear the difference between those two things? it's okay, it's okay if your clients like their photos. That's a good thing. It's fine. It's nice. But we are not in the business of wanting our clients to like our photos. We want them to love their photos. We want them to rave about their photos the way you would rave about your favorite restaurant or your favorite Netflix show or your favorite movie theater, whatever it is. We want our clients to be raving and so enthusiastic about their experience that they're almost like an army of marketers for us, that they're almost just like a word of mouth machine, right? And we want to make sure that when they get their photos back, they are blown away so far beyond their expectations. And so I want to give you a really interesting example that wasn't even taken on a DSLR, just so I can show you what we mean in a real world capacity. So this is a photo of Jordan's little sister and her now husband. Back then, this was not her husband, this was her fiance. And we were all together at a family event, and she asked us to take a picture of them together.
We were definitely not in Arizona. Notice the greenery and the water. Two things we do not have.
Clearly see all the things we don't have in Arizona. And so she handed us her iPhone and she said, hey, will you guys take a photo for us? And by now you would think she would know better, right? Like when you have two photographers for siblings, like we're just going to go a little nuts.
It's going to be a photo shoot.
Right? So they stood over there, posed themselves, and did a great job. They're adorable, right? And she already knows about like creating some space between her arm and her body. Like she knows some good tricks, right? Like we all know about those good tricks. So she's doing those good tricks for the photo. I'm taking the picture and we look at the photo and she likes it, right? She likes it. She totally likes it.
Yeah, she totally
She's
likes
ready
it.
to post it until I say, wait, let me take one more. I just want to make a few couple tweaks. And so I make a few couple tweaks. I take another photo and it looks like this. And I want you to look very carefully between the two photos. So slight, right? But when we put these two photos next to each other, which photo do you think had her feeling like there was no better photo on the planet? It was the photo on the right. We didn't have to use Photoshop. We didn't have to liquefy anything. This was taken on an iPhone and with a few couple tweaks because we know exactly what to look for. And we have a posing system that we use all the time, whether it's on an iPhone or whether it's on our professional cameras. And when we showed her the photo on the right, which one do you think she posted out of the two? Which one do you think she was more excited about? And if we can do that on an iPhone, what can we do for our clients and our professional cameras? I remember, honestly, the only reason I even remember this story, because this was a couple of years ago now, the only reason I remember this is because she just brought it up to me recently. And you know what she said? That she had to remind me, we had to go like dig these up out from her phone. I totally forgot we even took this photo for her. But do you know what she said about the photo on the right? She said, Austin and I aren't parents yet, but I know this might sound weird, but when we have our kids one day, I am excited to show our future kids this photo because I feel like they'll be able to look at this photo and be like, Mom and Dad looked good, right? And she was like, I know that's kind of embarrassing to say. And just so you know, I checked with her about sharing this story with all of you on the internet. And she said that it was completely okay. But the reason I wanted to share that story is there's so much more that goes into flattering the body because it does something to the way our clients feel. And if we can make an impact on the way clients feel, well, now we're giving them an experience that they can't help but talk about, rave about. And that is the power of flattering people's bodies. We really believe that intentionally flattering our clients' bodies while we're shooting and posing is one of the best ways that we can love and serve them. So let's go into the first insecurity that we believe that most people have, especially ladies, just like me. I feel ya. Here we go. Anyone else? Hopefully I'm not the only one. I think the most major insecurity that a lot of us ladies have are our arms, right? And I know that it's not just in my head because we've had the opportunity to work with a lot of clients. We've been able to work with families, with brides and grooms, with seniors, and they all say the same thing to me out loud at the session. A lot of them will say, oh my gosh, do my arms look big? Oh my gosh, can you just look? I feel really insecure about my arms. Can you just watch my arms? Like, you hear the tone change when she talks about her arms. And I think a lot of us feel that way, right? And when we're thinking about that insecurity, I think the most ironic thing, right, is if we had to stop and think, what's the most common type of dress that a bride picks on her wedding day? What is it? It's a strapless dress, right? Strapless dresses are the most common dress that we photograph on a wedding day. And it's not just on wedding days, right? A lot of times our senior sessions are wearing like thinly strapped tank tops, spaghetti straps. A lot of times in our family sessions, moms are wearing, maxi dresses that show a lot of their arms. Basically, any type of photography where we're working with women, most of them choose types of outfits that really showcase their arms, but they feel really insecure about the way their arms look in photos. So that's a big problem that we need to make sure that we're preparing for. So the first thing that we do is we try to educate our clients in advance about this. We actually send a style guide out to all of our clients before their session to prepare and educate them about some ways that if they do feel insecure about their arms, they can pick some outfits that could be extra flattering. So for example, finding a cute dress with lace sleeves or finding a cute jacket that they can pair with their outfit. Now, that's a nice tip, right? To be able to prepare them in advance, educate them, make them feel empowered. That's really nice. But what if they are going to wear a strapless dress? What if they have a dress that they love that's a tank top or that has spaghetti straps? So now let's get into the posing techniques, right? Let's figure out how can we use posing to flatter our clients' bodies. So we're going to use Rachel and Perry as our first example. Rachel and Perry are one of our real life AJ Brett, AJ guys. We did their wedding a couple of years ago. And what I want you to look at between this photo and the next photo, I want you to pay special attention to Rachel's arms. So I'm going to zoom in. Poor Rachel. She let me do this.
We love you, Rachel.
We love you, Rachel, if you're watching. We went and zoomed in on Rachel's arm. And if we look at the difference between these two photos, you might notice one thing here. This is probably a photo that Rachel wouldn't like when she looked at it. Why? Well, because her arm is pressed all the way toward her body. And when an arm is pressed all the way into the body, which a lot of people do, especially when they're nervous, is the skin spreads out and is as large as it will ever look, which is why sometimes you'll look at a photo and it will feel like almost like a misrepresentation of you. And you almost think, oh my gosh, do I look like that? I almost look worse in this picture than I feel like I see in the mirror. Well, that's because this is a very common problem, right? Where the skin is touching the body and spreads out. The same way that when you have a lot of fabric and the fabric presses against a wall, it spreads out, right? And it gets as big as it can. This isn't how the wedding dress looks on our bride, but because the fabric is spread out against the wall, it looks so much bigger than it really is. When it's on her, it looks like this, right? It's such a big difference. This effect, this fabric effect, is basically what happens with our arms. So our number one tip for this is we really want to create intentional space between the female arm and the torso at all times. And I want you to watch the difference in Rachel's arm. I zoomed in for us here. So here's Rachel's arm. And here's when I asked her to create some space between her elbow and her torso. So I want you to watch the change here. Nothing else has changed. No settings have changed. There's no photoshopping happening. There's no liquefying. It's just a simple adjustment and educating our client while we're posing her so that she can go from the arm on the left to the arm on the right. And that small change is going to get such a different reaction from her when she looks at the final shot. So that's why we're so intentional about creating the space between the arm and the torso. I want to give you a few more examples here. Here's another example where, again, very easily our bride has all of her arm stuck and attached to her torso. And it's a very common pose, right? So I'm going to ask her to bring her elbow away from her torso and watch the effect here. I want you to look at these two shots right next to each other and compare the arm on the left to the arm on the right. We want to be creating the best visual representation of our clients possible so that they are ecstatic about their final photos. And I believe that I want to treat my clients the way that I want to be treated, right? This is what I would want my photographer to be watching for. I would much rather hope that the photographer with the photo on the right is looking out for me, where the photographer on the left, I might say, oh yeah, I like that photo. Oh yeah, that's a nice photo. It's kind of like going to a nice restaurant or going to a nice movie theater, right? But the photo on the right is like my favorite Netflix obsession that I have to tell everybody about, right? So we can do this with couples, as you're seeing here, but this doesn't just work for couples. This really works for everybody, whether we're working with females alone, having our bride or our senior or our mom hold on to a jacket, create some really nice space there. We're just always constantly trying to create space between the elbow and the torso, and then we get this really flattering look. There's so many different ways for us to do this, and it really creates such a beautiful silhouette where you can see space between the elbow and the torso. It changes everything. So we're constantly assessing as we pose, is there a way for us to create more space for the client? And not only that, when we're not photographing our girl alone, maybe we're at a family session and it's mom and dad are together, right? Or it's at an engagement session or a wedding. We can actually use the guy strategically to help out his lady. And who doesn't love that? So here's 2 examples of a way that we can use our guy to help our girl out, especially if she's wearing a dress where you can really see her arms and shoulders. So in both of these photos, the trick is to have the guy place his hand right over her shoulder. And now this is really important, guys. I want to make this point really clear. When we are making posing tweaks while we're posing, we never want to give away the magic, because the posing experience is really important to us. So when we are asking the guy to cover up an insecurity on the arm, we would never actually reveal what we're doing, right? It's going to feel like a natural part of the posing. So I might say, hey, Michael, I want you to really lightly grab onto Molly's shoulder. Oh, that's so nice. That's so snuggly. Go ahead and snuggle her up right there. A couple things that I'm watching for is I want to make sure he doesn't grip on too tight, because if he grips too tight, you could go ahead and grab your own arm right now really tightly. And if you squeeze it, what happens? The skin spreads out even more, right? That's the opposite of what we want. We don't want the skin spreading out. So we have to watch for that too. But as we have him really gently place his hand on the shoulder, then we can make some really specific instructions to slide one way or the other until we get to a place where it's the perfect snuggle pose, right? And then her bride is going to look at these photos and love the way she looks. Or mom at a family session, or our senior girl. This is going to be such a huge way to make her feel like she can focus on the way she feels in the photo and not be so nervous about whether her arm looks big or not. Another trick that we love to use on wedding days when it comes to arms is to use the veil really strategically. So let me show you what I mean. Here's an example of Megan on her wedding day. Oh, she's just the cutest. I love her smile. She's such a beautiful bride. In Megan here, what you hopefully notice is the strategic placement of the veil. The veil we like to place right at the middle of the arm, because what that does visually is it cuts the arm in half. It almost creates a sliver effect on the arm. It's so flattering. Hopefully what happened is the first thing you looked at when you looked at this photo was her beautiful smile. It was the first thing that I looked at, right? And that's because we are making sure we're eliminating all of their distractions, even in that strapless dress, right? We're using the veil strategically. So all day long on a wedding day, I'm going to go up to the bride and say, oh my gosh, we need to do a little zhuzh right here. We just got to fluff that veil. And I will go ahead and pull that veil strategically right where I want it to go. It makes such a difference. Now, veils are really light and soft fabric, right? So they fall back all the time. They're constantly falling behind our bride. So this is something I have to be aware of all day long. And it's easy to forget this, right? As photographers, we're thinking about a million things. We're thinking about our settings. We're thinking about the posing. We're thinking about how much time do we have left. We're thinking about a lot of things at once. Or are we trying to backlight them? Is this in focus? We've got a lot going on. But one of the things that I always have my antennas up for are we flattering her arms? Is she going to love the way her arms look in this photo? And that's why I think it's worth the extra time. Anytime we're taking a picture of the bride alone or the bride with her family, the bride with the groom, we're going to use that veil strategically to cut the arm in half. So here's another example of what that looks like. It just creates such a beautiful sliver effect. And maybe you noticed that that is the same couple you saw earlier, the iPhone shot. She got a little bit of an upgrade on her wedding day. We actually photographed Jordan's sister's wedding, and this is a shot from her wedding where we're using that same trick. We're flattering her arm by cutting her arm in half with the veil. So those are just a few of our favorite tricks for flattering the arms. But what about the guys? I feel like we've really been leaving out the guys. And not only that, I've gotten so excited. I haven't let Jordan talk at all. I'm sorry about that, Jordan.
You're good. Let's talk about those guys. So let's talk about insecurity number 2 that we believe every guy has, which is the guy's stomach. Now, again, kind of like Amy mentioned before, how do I know that an area for guys where they're insecure is their stomach? It's because that's an area where I'm insecure. Actually, I feel insecure every single weekend when we're getting ready to shoot a wedding and I go into our closet and I put on one of my suits and I look down after I try to pull the pants on and say, wait a second, why did I buy 4 suits that don't fit me correctly? The truth is I didn't buy 4 suits that don't fit me correctly. They fit me correctly when I had originally got the suits. And the point being is that even though we don't have guys on wedding days who are wearing strapless dresses and things like that, we know that for gentlemen, an area of insecurity for them is the stomach, because that's where a lot of guys' weight goes, is to his stomach. And so what we want to talk about are ways that you can flatter the guy's physique. And so one of the things I just wanted to mention, kind of like Amy talked about before, we always send our client education before a family session or an engagement session or a senior session or anything like that. And one of the recommendations we always make is for the guys to wear a suit jacket, or to wear a coat, or to wear a suit. And the main reason that we do that is because suits are designed to make a slimming effect on guys, to accentuate the shoulders and to make the stomach area look smaller. And that really goes to this idea of relativity. And so before I dive into the suit idea, I want to show you a picture of me. Now, this is out in the desert, in our home, near our home in Arizona. And as you can see, I'm standing side on to the camera. Now, what you probably notice when I'm standing side on is I've kind of got this like Grinch that stole Christmas kind of belly thing going on. And I'm looking at the camera, not very happy at Amy, because I knew that this photo was going to be used to show you guys. Okay. And so I was a willing participant.
We're letting it all hang out, literally.
And so when you look at this photo, though, what you see is that my shoulders do not appear broad at all. I think we can all agree that when a guy is standing to the side, the widest that he looks up top is however wide basically his shoulder or his arm is. And because guys' stomachs tend to go, when they get bigger, they tend to go out forward. In this angle, you actually see the size of my Grinch that stole Christmas stomach, and I absolutely hate this photo. When I look at this photo,
it's like the nightmare before Christmas.
Yeah, in so many ways it is. I will probably dream about this photo or have nightmares for days and days, and so I don't like this look. And the main reason I don't like it is because it makes my stomach look significantly larger than it is in real life, and that's because of the idea of relativity. And so let me show you this photo that was taken just a few seconds after the Grinch that stole Christmas photo. And what you're going to notice here is that because I am looking straight to the camera, look how broad and how wide my shoulders look compared to my waistline. When we go back to this image here, my stomach looks significantly wider, right? My midsection looks significantly wider and bigger than the top half of my body. And for men, we are designed and made for our shoulders to be broader and for our stomachs to be smaller. And so let me show you a real life wedding day example of one of our grooms who we love. And our groom, this is Lewis. Lewis, I love you, brother. But I want to show you 2 shots of Lewis that were taken on his wedding day. And I want you to tell me, knowing about this idea of relativity and knowing that we want the guy to be broader at the shoulders and narrower at the stomach, tell me which one of Lewis is a sharper look.
And now we just want to point out, there's nothing wrong with this photo, right? This is a nice photo. I bet he likes this photo. I really do.
There's nothing Grinch that stole Christmas about this photo, Lewis.
This is a great photo. I bet he really likes it. But let's compare it to the next photo. Ooh, let's go back and forth a couple times.
And so if you look at the difference, what is the main difference in the photo on the left and now the photo that you're seeing here? There are 2 main differences. Number one, the idea that Amy talked about with a little bit of space between the arm and the torso, that works for guys too. And also the relativity, right? In the first photo, relative to his waistline, because his arms are touching up against his body, his shoulders look about the same size as his midsection. But when we go back to this photo, his shoulders look much broader and more masculine compared to his midsection. And so when we think about this idea, especially of guys wearing suits, always keep in mind that a suit, the reason why a suit looks so good on a man and why every guy should own a Navy suit is that...
I like how he says Navy. Navy has nothing to do with it. We just like Navy.
I just like Navy. But the reason why every guy should own a suit, and the reason why suits haven't changed, right, in years and years and years, suits have basically stayed the same, is they're designed to do two things. Suits are designed to make a man's shoulders look broader, and they're designed to make a man's stomach look narrower. And if you look at the shape of the lapel and where it goes down to the button, it's designed for that exact reason.
I think that's why men have been wearing the same thing at the Oscars every year since the movies were invented, right? Like every single year, you never have to guess what the men are going to be wearing at the Oscars. You always know, right?
And so let's talk about a tip that we can use to make our guys look super studly. And that is to keep the guys square to the camera as much as possible. Whether you're photographing a senior guy, whether you're photographing a guy with a girl on an engagement session, we just want to make sure that we're keeping our guy squared up to the camera as much as possible so that his shoulders appear broader than his waistline. And so that's the first tip for our guys to help them with that area of insecurity, which is their stomach.
And we'll get back to the guys, but let's go back to the girls for a little while. Let's go to insecurity number 3 for our ladies, the girl's waistline, right? Because it's a really different story when we're comparing a male physique to a female physique, because that trick about broad shoulders isn't going to work the same for females because that's not really the most flattering look for women, right? So we're going to talk about the best trick for the girl's waistline. Well, honestly, we've got a lot of tricks for the girl's waistline, but I would say this is definitely one of our favorites.
Oh, yeah.
So let's have an example here of another one of our favorites. This is Melissa and Braden. They're actually really great friends of ours. And Melissa is facing all the way to the camera, and so is Braden, right? So Braden is standing in that shoulders nice and square to the camera, and you can see his shoulders look broader than his waist. It's a great flattering look for him. For Melissa, because she's a woman, having any woman stand straight onto the camera is not going to be the most flattering look for her. And so when we're thinking about posing, we want to be really intentional about flattering our girl's waistline. So keep this photo in mind for a minute of her looking straight, or her body, excuse me, looking straight to the camera. Even though she's looking at Braden, her body is square to the camera. And now I want you to watch what happens when we make some posing adjustments. Here we go. Whoop. That's my sound effect. Ready? Whoop.
I love your sound effects.
Thank you. Or like, I think that's even a better one.
Whoop. We can have 2 sound effects.
When you look at these 2 photos side by side, hopefully what you notice is that Melissa's waistline just looks killer on the photo on the right. And that's because she's in one of our favorite base poses, belly button to hip bone. And so the belly button to hip bone is one of our favorite poses in the world. We use it constantly. So we just want to walk you through how we set up the belly button to hip bone base stance. Here we go. So the first thing we do is we try to have our guy anchor his shoulders as squarely as possible to the camera first. We normally like to plant our guy first when we're posing a couple together. It just makes it easier. So first we want to anchor him and have his shoulders as square to the camera as possible, just like you see here with Chris and Jenna. And then typically we'll have our guy either place his outside hand in his pant pocket and his inside hand around our bride's waist is typically what we'll do here. And now this doesn't just work for brides and grooms, right? This works at family sessions. This works at engagement sessions. Anytime you've got a guy and a girl, this is one of our favorite couple stances. So once we've got our guy placed, the next thing that we do is the instruction is really specific and clear, because stand next to each other is not going to cut it here. Stand next to each other is not going to get you that super flattering wow result that we just showed you here. The key trick here is to have our girl turn toward our guy. And now we have to make sure to say the magic phrase, right? Which is belly button to his hip bone. So she's going to turn her belly button to his hip bone. And what that's going to do, if you look down for a second at where your belly button is located, this is like a kindergarten anatomy lesson, right? Look down at where your belly button is located. It's right smack in the middle of your stomach. So because it's in the middle of your stomach, what happens is when you attach your belly button to the hip bone, you are creating this really beautiful sliver effect, meaning that half of your body is now not being seen by the camera anymore. And that's why this trick works so well.
Because it's magic.
It is kind of like magic. We've got a lot of fun magic poses up our sleeves. We kind of feel like little magicians, right? So we get to put not only the belly button right at the hip bone, then we want to make sure that we're also putting a slight bend in the front knee. It just looks a lot more comfortable and it's a lot more flattering because the weight isn't coming toward the camera. The weight is now going away from the camera. So as you can see here, we're getting a sliver, half of her, belly button to hip bone. And then from there, did I mention the slight pop in front knee? I think I did. We put it in here twice because that's how important it is. We want to put a slight pop in the front knee because that really helps distribute the weight the best way possible on every body type. From there, our instruction for our guy, and this is another big key here, is we want our guy to pull her in. See that back hand around the waist? We want him to pull her in as tight as he possibly can, because when he pulls her in as tight as he possibly can, it cinches the waist and makes her even more sliver-like. These are the shots that our brides absolutely love. We do this with moms and dads, like I said, at engagement sessions all the time. And this is definitely one of our favorite poses for traditional portraits. So anytime we have a picture of anyone looking at the camera and smiling, which even though you know how much we love like those joyful, natural, spontaneous looking photos that are a little bit more playful and editorial, where it doesn't even look like they know the camera is there. We love those shots a lot. But it's also really important to us that we nail the traditional portraits for our clients. When Jordan and I got married, we actually didn't get a photo like this of us at our wedding looking at the camera and smiling, and it was one of our biggest regrets. So we do a lot of traditional portraits where they're both looking at the camera and smiling, and I would say this is probably our go-to traditional pose for looking and smiling because it's so flattering. Our guy gets to have those really broad shoulders like we talked about, which is so slimming for his waistline. And then for our bride, we get to make her a sliver. So it's like the best of both worlds for both of them, right? And now, like I mentioned, we don't just do this at weddings. This would be an example of the belly button to hip bone pose at a family session with little kids, right? We just belly button to hip bone with mom and dad, and then we add the kids into that mix. And so when we're working with families, we use a lot of the exact same systems that we do with our couples. We're just adding kids into the mix. Here you see Rachel and Perry with their little baby Charlie, and she's belly button to hip bone. He's pulling her in really tight there. Here we've got a sweet family of 4, and if you notice, she's got all the right moves, right? She's got the belly button going right to his hip bone. He's looking nice and broad at the shoulders. She's got the perfect little knee pop going on, right? We've got a really good family shot here, and then we add in the kids, and we've got a shot that mom is excited to frame and excited to hang on the wall, excited to mail out for her Christmas cards, and we cannot underestimate the power of that. That is the type of shot that makes her want to come back to us every single year for Christmas card photos, right? So the belly button to hip bone is one of our favorite tricks, not just for families, but also for our Instagram. We just want to be really transparent for a moment and basically give away that we pose ourselves using the flattering tricks every single time we post a picture of ourselves on the internet. Honestly, this is so embarrassing, but we really wanted to be transparent
here. So
here.
if you walk away with nothing else from this free online class, you have way better Instagram photos and social media photos.
Yeah, now you know the trick. This is our go-to. Amy and Jordan, let's take a picture with an iPhone shot. This is the pose we go to. You can see it over and over and over again. This is literally us doing the belly button to hip bone like all over the country. Their belly button to hip bone in Prague, belly to hip bone in San Francisco, in my parents' backyard, right? Like everywhere we do the belly button to hip bone stance because it's so flattering. Jordan's shoulders look so broad. It cuts my body in half. I get this little sliver effect. It is my favorite way to take a photo. And so at this point, you might be remembering back to that photo we showed you earlier on, the belly button to hip bone photo. That was the secret. That was the difference, the belly button to hip bone trick. The two main changes here, right? If you look at her legs, in this one, her legs are straight, so her weight is coming to the front of the camera. And in this shot, she's got a nice little bend in the front, which means all of her weight's being sent to the back. And see here, you can see not that you can see it, she's wearing a dress, but you can identify exactly where her belly button is in the shot, right?
She does have a belly button.
She does, just to be clear. From here, you could see exactly where her belly button would be, where here, her belly button is basically like a magnet onto his hip bone. And that's how we're able to create that really slimming effect. And now this is just, I wish we had time to go into all of our flattering the body stances because we have so many, but this is definitely one of our favorites. But let's move on back to our guys for a minute because we've been spending a long time on the girls, right? Let's go back to the guys for a minute and go to how to flatter his neck and chin.
So guys, if I'm being completely real with you, for as much as I hate the Grinch Who Stole Christmas belly, I hate the neck chin even more. And so my biggest area of insecurity for me is my neck and my chin. And the reason that I know that this is where when I put on a little bit of extra weight, the reason why I know this is the place I put it on is if I've been going to the gym for a couple of weeks, all the women in my family, when they see me a couple of weeks later say, Jordan, you look so good. Your face. It's in your face. And they'll kind of like grab onto my cheeks. And like, we're a very like Greek family, right? So they're like kind of grab my cheeks. They kind of investigate it. They maybe pull on the skin a little bit. Wow, you really have lost some weight.
The best part of being welcomed by Jordan's family is they always love to kiss you on the cheeks, right? They're like a big fat Greek family with all the love.
That's right. And so that's how I know that that is where I carry my weight. And so what I wanted to ask you a question, and this is really whether you are a guy or a girl, I want to ask you something. Has this ever happened to you? So you've gone to bed at night, you wake up in the morning, and you're tired when you wake up. You're a little groggy. You kind of roll yourself out of bed. You kind of reach for your cell phone, right? Because the first thing we all do in the morning is we reach for our cell phone.
Is anyone else guilty of that?
And as you're walking with your cell phone in hand, kind of maybe to the kitchen to grab a cup of coffee, or you gotta get started on making breakfast or whatever, you're still like a little bit disoriented.
Or maybe you're just like sitting up in bed. You can't even get out of bed, right? You're just like, oh, I just need a minute. I just want to check on Instagram, right?
And when you go to do that, this happens. Oh man, that is a lot of chin. Holy moly. So this was actually a photo that I took of myself this morning, and you can actually see where you're looking. I'm looking down, right, or at the phone.
It's like the worst surprise ever when you pick up your phone and this is what you see, right? It's like the rudest awakening ever in the morning. Don't
lie. Raise your hand if this has ever happened to you, and then you know what happens next, right? You see this and it terrifies and horrifies you. So then the next thing you do is this.
Oh.
And now you've made the situation even worse, right? So you went from this to now this, the shock, the expression of shock at what you look like. But let me show you, I can't even believe I'm showing this right now. Let me show you what happens when you understand correct posing techniques. That is not even the same person from here to there. And now I know that that might sound like an extreme example, but what if we're doing this to our guys, even in a small way, without knowing it? I know for Amy and me, there are so many photos of the two of us together that Amy absolutely loves. But I can tell you with total honesty and transparency, the second that I look at a photo of us, the first thing that I do is I look at my chin. I look at my neck and I look at my jawline. Because if I look more like this guy and less like this guy, I'm unlikely to like the photo regardless of everything else that's in the image. Even Amy, as beautiful as she is, and as much as I love her and think she's a knockout.
Wow, he's really trying to earn those husband points.
That's
today,
right. If I look like this guy, it doesn't matter what Amy looks like. This is what I want to look like, right? And so what I want to do is first, what if we're doing this to our guys without knowing it? And then next, what I want to say is how can we fix it, right? Because I think we're putting this all in the context, this posing to flatter bodies. We're putting it all in the context of how can we serve the clients that we have the best way possible. And so let's go back out to that famous desert where we had the Grinch Who Stole Christmas belly. And now what I want you to do is kind of zoom in with your eyes for me over to my chin. And I want you to see the little bit of extra that's underneath my chin. And I want you to compare it to that. So let me show you the before. And now let me show you the after. And what you're going to notice is nothing has changed about me at all except for my chin. And when you look at these photos side by side, this is a huge difference from one to the other. And so what's the trick? How do we get from the guy on the left to the guy on the right? The trick is to slightly bring the forehead forward. All you have to do is slightly bring the forehead forward and you get to be the guy on the right instead of the guy on the left. And let's look at a real wedding day example. So this is one of our grooms. He's totally awesome. Eric, you are the man. If you are out there watching, I love you, brother. And I had Eric getting ready for his groom portraits. And when Eric first got into his stance for his groom portrait, he did this. So I took a picture of it. Then I changed the instructions slightly to get him to lean slightly forward so that we could get that. And now what I want you to notice, there are two things that are really important. The first thing that I want you to notice is that in this first photo, because of the way I posed him, he's leaning back just slightly. There's a little bit extra underneath his chin. Also, what you're going to notice is that there is a lot less space between his arm and his torso, just like Amy talked about. When we look at this image here, we've created a little more space in the torso by having him kind of play with that button there. And because we had him lean forward just a little bit and lean his chin forward a little bit, or his forehead, he has that really beautiful, really defined, really masculine jawline. And so when we look at these two photos side by side, you guys tell me, if you were the groom, which photo would you want in the album? If you were the bride, which photo would you want of the groom? Because the reality is the photo on the left is not a fair visual representation of Eric. The photo on the right is a fair visual representation of Eric. Just like for me, the photo looking up at my chin was not a fair representation of me, but the photo of me when the camera was a little higher and I was leaning toward it was.
And just like all of us when we open our phones, right? When we open our phones, it's not a fair representation of any of us. Hallelujah. And now another thing that we can have our guys do, aside from just coming forward at the forehead, is one of our other favorite tricks, especially for flattering the chin and the jawline. I just want to bring attention to the jawline for a minute. The jawline is one of the areas where we really believe like you can make a huge difference just by this quick little trick that you're seeing on your screen right here, which is having our guys lean slightly forward at the torso. So the torso is right where the bend happens in their body, and it's very slight. So I want to show you what I mean. So here's an example of our groom, super handsome groom, right? It's a nice picture. I bet he liked this picture. I bet this picture was okay for him. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a nice photo, right?
Yeah, sure.
But what about this photo? Look at the difference.
That jawline, though.
That jawline, though. We might sound crazy about jawlines, but jawlines are one of the most flattering elements on a guy, and it's so easy to let the jawline disappear. And so it's our job when we're posing to bring that jawline out so that they can really see the definition in the jawline. If you look at the photo on the left, I'd say that's a nice photo. It's like, sometimes you don't even know what you don't know, right? The photo on the left would look fine. I bet most people would say, yeah, that's a nice photo. And I think that's the key difference between okay posing and incredible posing. When you really know what you're looking for, you can take a photo from, oh yeah, I like that photo, to like, that is my favorite picture I've ever had taken of me. I love my photographer because my photographer made me look better than ever before.
And there's nothing more fun than when your client sees a photo that they absolutely love where their body is flattered so well, and you can say to them, that wasn't Photoshop.
That's right.
That wasn't liquefied. That's you.
We get to show them the shot on the right during the session. We get to flip the camera around the back of the screen and show him that photo. And because we don't have to do it in Photoshop, it immediately boosts their confidence big time. This works for men, for women, for families. When we get to show them the back of the camera and show them the shot on the right, the confidence that comes from that changes the entire session. When they see themselves the way that we see them, it just skyrockets their confidence. And when our clients feel confident and they feel comfortable, we're able to get the most incredible shots of them where you look at the photos, look at the smile change there, right? Like even the smile looks better.
He must have known. Right. He must have known his jawline was looking good.
That jawline was looking good, right? And so this is a trick that we use over and over again on wedding days. Here's another one of our awesome grooms, Kevin. He was so much fun to hang out with. We want you to see the before and the after bending at the torso. Here's the before, here's the after. See how slight it is? If you were to just look at this photo, you wouldn't even really be able to tell that he's bending forward at the torso, right? It looks like he's just standing up and you're just noticing how great his jawline is, right? But in the photo on the left, he's actually standing straight up. And that same thing that Jordan was doing when he was standing straight up is what most guys do. They allow their heads to go just slightly back into their necks, and that's what creates that extra skin around the chin. So when we can bend them forward just slightly, look at the definition on that jawline. So knowing that that is going to happen every time they bend forward, we're constantly using that knowledge to make our posing so much stronger. Now, we actually have another trick for posing our guys when we've got a girl with him too. So we've already showed you how we can use a guy to help out his girl. Now we're going to switch things up and show you how our girl can help out our guy. This is one of our favorite posing tricks. Anytime we're noticing a little extra chin or a little extra skin, and that's very common when we're posing a bride and groom together, because most of the time our groom is taller than our girl, right? So it's very common that when he bends down toward her, he's going to need a little extra help so that he doesn't look at his photo and think, oh, shoot, I've got a double chin, right? Like we all hate looking at a photo and thinking like, oh, shoot, I've got too many chins in this photo. It feels the way that I feel when I open my phone accidentally, right? And so this trick is one of our favorite posing tricks for a couple of reasons. One, it super flatters the neck, right? Two, it's a great way to show off the bling when it's an engagement session, right? You can see Bree's beautiful new ring there, and it just looks so intimate and romantic. It looks like they really love each other. It looks like we caught them in a moment. And I think that's one of our favorite things about posing, is helping coach our clients into posing that feels so natural. Like you caught them in this moment that's really spontaneous feeling, when in fact we coached them through the whole thing. Because I think the thing is that natural photos, most of the time, the ones that look really natural don't actually happen naturally, because we're the ones coaching our clients into posing that looks comfortable. Because here's the thing, if we just have them kiss and don't give them any instruction, it might not look that good, right? It's just like when you're watching Netflix and you pause the screen when two people are on the screen. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to find a paused still shot where both people look good in the shot, right? If they're both going in for a kiss or they're both talking to each other. We always think of those like Barbara Walters specials, right? Where they're like walking down the ranch, interview style, and Barbara's asking the in-depth questions for like the latest celeb, whoever's hot at the moment. And when you pause the screen because you need to go pop your popcorn, when you look at the screen, you're like, oh, I don't think they would like to see this, right? That's what happens to all of us when someone just freezes a moment without thinking about it. That's why we're so focused on intentional posing, because we want to help create moments that are beautiful visual representations for our client. And we believe this is a beautiful representation of how they feel when they're going in for a kiss. But as you notice, their bodies look really flattered while they're doing it. And that is because we want these two to be able to look at that photo and not think, oh my gosh, I have a double chin. Oh my gosh, I hate my arms. Oh my gosh, I hate my waist. We don't want them to think about any of those things. We want them to look at the photo, and the first thing we know they're going to look at, they're not going to be like, that light, even though that's what I'm going to say, right? I'm going to be like, that light. They're going to look at the photo and they're going to assess themselves. And so they're looking at this photo, and my hope is that as soon as they look at this photo, they're thinking, I love him. I love her. That's what powerful posing does. So here's a couple more examples of us using that go-to trick, right? It works so well. And a couple quick tricks here is we want to make sure that we just have soft fingers. So you can see in both of these shots, there's just a nice, very, very subtle, soft bend in the fingers so that it looks nice and natural. And then when we're going in for any type of kiss or anything like that, the instruction that we give is to basically place the fingers around the neck, and the thumb is normally on the other side of the ear, which you can see here in both of these examples. The thumb's on one side of the ear and the fingers are on the other side of the ear. And that is normally the spot where a guy is most likely to get that double chin effect, especially when he's leaning down, right? And that actually brings us to our fifth insecurity. The couple on the left, we absolutely love them. They're actually photographers too. They're awesome photographers, awesome people. Maybe some of you out there even know them, Ashley and Troy. They are the sweetest couple. And one thing you might know about Ashley and Troy is that they have quite a height difference between the two of them. And we found that for some couples, that can be an insecurity when one person is much taller than the other person. We're going back to our own sister here. Her fiance at the time, now husband, Austin, is much taller than her. Believe it or not, she's actually wearing super high heels in this photo, and she's still quite shorter than him.
We always say Austin is our family's best hope for height.
Yes, hopefully our future nieces and nephews get his awesome height, right? So this can sometimes be an insecurity for couples, but I think it's actually a big insecurity and question that a lot of photographers bring to us constantly. I would say one of our most commonly asked questions from photographers is, okay, Amy and Jordan, what can I do when the couples are really different heights? It makes it so much harder to pose, right? So we're going to use another one of our sweet friends, Anna and Ryan. Ryan, we nickname him Hercules, right? Because he's so big and tall.
To be clear, I nicknamed him Hercules.
Yeah, just to be clear, Jordan has a total man crush.
It's a little bit of a man crush.
Totally cool, right? Okay. So when we have someone like Anna and Ryan, they're the sweetest, cutest couple. We want to do everything we can to get them shots that still feel really intimate and really sweet and natural and spontaneous. We want to get them all those same types of shots, but we maybe don't want every shot to highlight the height difference between the two of them. So if we're looking to kind of blend the height difference and get them a little bit more intimate looking shots, the first thing we'll always have our guy do is have him lean down toward her. And hopefully what you're noticing right away is the trick we already taught you. So if you look at Anna, she's placing the thumb on one side of the ear and the fingers on the other side of the ear. And what that's doing for Ryan, because he's so much taller than her. Now, again, it's not Ryan's fault, right? He's got a great jawline, but because he has to come—
I would kill for his jawline.
I told you it was a man crush. Oh my gosh. We love you, Ryan. With this photo right here, he has to come down quite significantly with his neck in order to be able to reach Anna. And because of that, if any of us right now, everyone go ahead and put your chin all the way down to your chest, right? As low as it'll go. And you'll start to feel the extra skin there starting to clump together. So we want to avoid that. And that's why we always have our girl grab onto the cheek just like that. Now, from there, we can give him a couple different instructions that will be really great for his jawline, but also allow them to see how close they are face to face when actually there's this much height difference between the two of them, right? But in this shot, it doesn't look like it. Right now, we have Anna's feet cropped out, and it is completely okay with us to have our brides go up on her tiptoes, right? Go up a little bit. You can't even tell that she's up on her toes. And then we have Ryan bending down. And with those two things together, we can get their heads much closer together. Now, when he's there, we like to have them go nose to nose. So the instruction that we like to give is, Ryan, I'm going to have you touch the tip of your nose to the bridge of Anna's nose. And what we love about this look is it's really sweet, intimate looking, and it makes both of their jawlines look great. It allows them to go face to face. So that's what's happening here. And remember, it's really important, that key for height differences. This is like more important than any other type of couple. The height differences, we have to have that girl cupping onto his neck. From there, one of our other most favorite looks for height differences is here. We didn't have to have her cover the neck because of the action we're having him do. We're having him kiss her really softly on the forehead. We have both of their eyes closed. We have this really gentle, sweet moment here. And the reason why this is one of our favorite looks for our couples with major height differences is because he's able to bend down, but because he's not going to her nose or to her lips or to her chin where he'd have to duck down more with his head, when he kisses the very top of her forehead, he's able to maintain that really nice definition in his jawline. So one of the things I notice is if I have him going more of like a nose to nose look, and I notice that the chin is starting to get kind of uncomfortable there because of that height difference, that's when I will have him switch up the pose and kiss her on the forehead instead, which is one of the most flattering poses. And now another one of our favorite tricks for posing couples with height differences, remember, here's Kaylin and Austin, our best chance at having tall nieces and nephews, because goodness knows we're not going to help with that. Sorry, Grandma and Grandpa, right? From here, when we have our clients sitting down, look how close Kaylin and Austin's face can be. Look how far away it is here, and look how close and snuggly it can be here. This photo looks so much more intimate and sweet and natural, and we can use this positioning, going from standing to sitting. Sitting makes a big difference. And not only that, sitting is so universally flattering because of the same rule that Jordan was talking about earlier with the cell phone. We know that when you open up a cell phone and it's being shot up at you, that's the worst angle, right? The best angle, the most universally flattering angle on anyone is, instead of shooting up at somebody, we're going to shoot down on them. And if you look at the jawline difference, it's so significant here. This is another one of our favorite girls, Kristen. What up, Kristen? I don't know if any of these people are watching, but it would make me really happy to find out if they were. So with Kristen here, we're able to shoot down at the jawline, and it makes such a difference. I'm going to show the first shot again, and then the second one. That sitting down jawline is so flattering. And if you notice how much taller, it's such a huge difference, right? So in order to make Kristen the same height.
There's even a height difference between the dogs. I just noticed that.
I wonder if this trick would work on the dogs. Something to experiment another day. So we have her now at the exact same place as him, just by simply having her sit down. And especially when she's looking down over her shoulder, it's just this beautiful, flattering look on the jawline, and makes such a difference and allows them to get so much snugglier. So those are just a few of our favorite tricks. And we really hope that this information helped you and that you're pumped to go out and try this stuff at your next session. And not just your next session, but for the rest of your career. We are really excited about this, and hopefully you found a bunch of things that you can go apply right away. That's one of the things that's most important to us, is that you can take information from us and then go apply it right away at your next session, so you're seeing significant differences. And we love when you share those photos with us. It's so cool to get to see the amazing results that you create after your time with us. And if you thought that this was helpful, then I'm really excited to share with you the next part. We let you know that when we are finished teaching, that we are going to have this really exciting announcement for you. And I cannot wait to share that for years, photographers have been telling us things about posing like, oh my gosh, Amy and Jordan, I'm so ready to break up with Pinterest. I'm so ready to stop memorizing a list of poses. Does that sound like you? Or maybe you're saying something more like, oh, when it comes to posing, I freeze up during sessions and I just feel like a fraud. There's nothing worse than when you freeze up and can't remember what to do next. And so you end up doing the same thing over and over again. And you feel like, how many more times can I ask them to kiss, right? It's not even looking very good. That is the worst thing ever. Or maybe you're thinking, I think my photos are pretty good. Like, I think that my clients like my photos, but I am looking for that X factor, right? I said X with very weirdly. I don't know what's happening with my voice. I'm excited. X factor. My photos are still missing that X factor. I want them to go from just liking their photos and being like, oh yeah, that's nice, to getting to a place where they can't help but refer me to everybody they look at because they're so excited about the work that I'm producing, right? Or maybe you've already tried to invest in some sort of posing guide or prompt cards or something that you were hoping was going to make a big difference in your photography, and you realize, you know what, those cheap posing guides just are not working for me. I need something more than that. Or maybe you're just in the position where you're like, honestly, my clients just look kind of stiff and awkward, and I just don't know how to fix it. I'm looking at your photos and it feels like you're always just catching these spontaneous moments. But I know that everything is intentional because also their bodies are flattered, right? So I want to go from that stiff and awkward to those really wow factor images, right? And I just want my photos to look natural and spontaneous. So if this is you, we hear you. We have been hearing you. We've been getting your emails. We've been seeing your comments. And that is why we have developed our brand new posing course. It's an ultimate posing course, you guys, and we're so excited about it. And I think one of the things that's most important to us is that we're teachers first, right? We are photographers, but before we were photographers, we were teachers. And for us, it's really important to be able to break down complex things and make them feel simple. And hopefully what you found from our class is that you took practical notes that you can apply to your next session. And not only that, we really believe that learning should be fun, right? We want to help you learn in a warm, engaging way and make sure that whether you're a seasoned pro or whether you're just getting started, we spent years in the classroom teaching all different types of learners at all different levels. That's what a teacher has to do. We get a group of kids that come from all different backgrounds, all different learning abilities, and it's our job to be able to teach all of them, regardless of their experience, regardless of where they came from. And that's what we believe that we're experts at. And I think that's why we're so excited, because we really are here to help you confidently create photos that feel fresh and natural and joyful, 3 of our favorite words in the world, right? And if you loved what you learned tonight, the crazy thing, you guys, is that we were only able to give you about 5% of what is in the posing course, because the posing course is so packed and so deep full of stuff. I wish we had time to share with you everything, but we just don't have enough time, right? And so when we were building the posing course, we were kind of thinking back and forth about 2 major groups, right? The wedding photographers, wedding and engagement photographers. That's what we do now. And the portrait photographers. That's what we did at the beginning. When we were starting out, we did tons of senior sessions, tons of family sessions, tons of little kid sessions, right? Tons of maternity sessions. We worked portrait photography all the time. So when we were first getting started and thinking about, okay, how can we best serve photographers? We want to make sure that everybody is learning the best way possible. I think we should probably break it up. We should do a posing course for wedding photographers and a posing course for portrait photographers. That seems like the only way to do it, right? But as soon as we started really thinking about this, we have always run our business and all the decisions we make based on the golden rule. We want to treat you the way that we want to be treated. And when we were starting out, we did both. We did portrait photography and we did wedding photography. We didn't specialize in one or the other yet. And it would have been really hard for us to choose because, a lot of family photographers feel really left out of posing courses because they're so wedding specific and couple specific. And we love weddings and couples, but there's so much more that can be applied to both, right? And a lot of portrait photographers that are only portrait photographers right now also have hopes and dreams of being wedding photographers someday, right? And or incorporating that into their business. And then there's a whole group of photographers out there like you that shoot both, right? That shoot both portraits and weddings. And we remember what it was like to shoot weddings and portraits and have to choose. And we don't want you to have to choose. So the exciting news is that we basically packed 2 courses into one, and you don't have to choose. We didn't want you to have to choose because we would have had an impossible time choosing. So we're really excited to let you know that we have packed over 10 plus hours of classroom style content for wedding photographers and portrait photographers. And it has over 1,000 slides, you guys, of stuff like what you just saw right now, because we really believe in thorough practical examples to make it simple to apply to your business. And not only that, we've included a lot of live demonstrations and behind the scenes learning, over 5 hours where you actually get to see Jordan and I teach to a live studio audience and demonstrate our posing techniques so you can see how we get into them, and we can explain and walk you through each step by step. And then only from there, we go on to you actually getting to watch us behind the scenes. So after you see those live demonstrations of us teaching to a live audience, then we'll get to actually take you out on some sessions, and we're going to get you inside our head and show you exactly how we make all those tweaks to the couple to make their photos go from like good to amazing, right? And then from there, we're going to take you on 3 live uncut behind the scenes sessions. We never stopped rolling. We had a family session with 2 little kids, so cute, 4 years old and 2 years old almost. A bridal anniversary session where we've got a bouquet and a beautiful dress. And then a couple session where it looks a little bit more like an anniversary session or an engagement session, right? Like a more typical one of those sessions. So we have all 3 of those where you get to watch us flow through the posing, watch us go through the transitions, watch us build the relationships with our clients, because so much of our posing experience is experience-based, and we want you to be able to see that firsthand. So that's why we've packed so much in. And the cool thing is we're covering how to pose individual women, individual men. We're covering little kids. We're covering seniors, guys and girls. We're covering couples, of course, one of our favorites. We're covering families with young kids and how to use the best strategies to be able to win over those kids, right? And have great family pictures that everyone is proud of. Also families with older kids, right? Because that can be its own challenge. Little kids are challenging because they're unpredictable. You never know what they're going to bring. Older kids can be challenging because they're a little less into it, right? So we're going to talk through that. We talk through the bride and groom posing, of course, and not just that, but also how do we pose bridesmaids? How do we pose the groomsmen? We talk about the full bridal party and our approach to that so that we can get our clients a ton of beautiful images in a quick amount of time. We also talk about how to shoot family formals, because that can be a really stressful part of of the day, right? And not only that, we spend a lot of time focusing on nailing the natural look in your photos and getting photos with genuine smiles, winning over those little kids so that you can get them comfortable, posing in a time crunch. This one is huge. We all know that things can go wrong on a wedding day and we get a limited amount of time, or maybe you're shooting mini sessions where you have to pump out a lot of photos in a quick amount of time. We talk about ways to do that. And of course, you know how much we love flattering every body. And not only that, we talk about how to talk to our clients to get the best results. We have a lot of really specific strategies to talk to our clients to get them into the posing that we are imagining. We're also going to be breaking down our 3-step posing system. And the reason we love our 3-step posing system so much is because I think a lot of us, we try to memorize lists of poses or we save them on our phone, and really that's more like someone handing you a fish, right? Or you trying to like take a fish with you to your session, as opposed to the AJ posing course is going to teach you how to fish. So nobody is ever going to have to hand you one fish ever again. You're never going to have to take one fish with you to a session. You're going to know how to fish for yourself. And that's one of the most important things for us as teachers is we do not teach you how to replicate. We want to teach you how to create and empower you to be confident in your posing. And when we think about why we love We Do What We Do, we think about Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen came to us as a brand new photographer. And when she first got started, she said this. She said that, you know what, Amy and Jordan, I freeze up during posing and I feel like my photos are just kind of uninspired, unnatural. They're stiff, they're awkward. I don't know what to do. And once Sue Ellen learned our posing system, she took her photos from this to this. These are her before and afters, right? She learned our shooting system. She learned our posing system. And it's so cool to see her nailing it. Look at the difference here. Which photos feel fresh and natural and joyful? Which ones feel like you're peering in on a moment, right? And so that is what the posing course is all about.
And now you're probably wondering, okay, so how much is this course going to cost? Since this is our full posing system that can be adapted by someone who just started out like Sue Ellen or a seasoned professional, when we started telling people in the industry about this course and everything that we were going to include, they told us that they expected it to cost at least $1,000, especially because this is 2 courses combined. But here's the deal. We set out to build a course. We didn't look at the least amount of hours we could get away with teaching for the most amount of money we can charge. We look at how much value we can bring you for the lowest possible price, because teaching isn't a game or a gimmick to us. It's not an easy way to make a quick buck. Teaching is our life's work. And so when those people told us we should be charging at least $1,000, we said no. And so this course does not cost $1,000. This course retails for $597 because we believe in affordable, accessible, transformational education that changes businesses and changes lives. But here's the thing. We told you there was going to be a special offer. We told you there was going to be something exciting. And we're ready to tell you now what that is. As a thank you for giving us an hour of your time and spending an hour with us in this free online class to learn how to pose better, as a huge thank you, you're not going to pay $1,000 for the AJ posing course. You're not going to pay the retail price of $597 that most people are going to pay. You are going to pay $397, which is 60% less than what those people told us that we needed to charge. And we are so excited about that because for $397, a one-time payment, here's everything you get. 10 hours of those practical, applicable posing lessons. So if you liked what you just got for the last hour, there are 10 plus more hours just like that. But it's not just the classroom lessons. You also get 5+ hours of live demonstrations and behind the scenes learning. 3 different learning modalities because as former professional elementary school teachers, we believe in hitting learners of all styles and all ways so that it makes sense. And so in addition to getting a live video where Amy and I are teaching live to a group of photographers and actually demonstrating our posing and talking through it, you're also going to get that anniversary session where we were mic'd up working with Rachel and Perry and we were posing them and thinking out loud so you could get inside of our head, right? Because it's one thing for us to show you and demonstrate how to pose. It's another thing to be able to watch us in action, making corrections on the fly with a couple that we feel comfortable talking out loud in front of so that we don't say anything that might hurt their feelings. And then also you're going to get those 3 uncut, mic'd up sessions where we took a family and we took 2 couples out for sessions We had cameras rolling. We were mic'd up. We did not stop rolling because we wanted you to see what a session with us looks like from start to finish and how we work and interact with those clients. But here's the thing. It's not just the 10 plus hours of classroom videos. It's not just the 5 plus hours of live demonstrations. You're also going to get our digital course workbook, which is going to allow you to type in as you go and use the highlights of the most important things of every lesson. You can use this to track your progress. You can refer back to it for helpful reminders and fresh inspiration whenever you need to. And here's the best part. Since it's digital, you can put it on your phone and take it with you wherever you go. Now, right there, that's a ton. But the best news is there is more. When you enroll in the AJ Posing course, you will automatically be given access to our exclusive private Facebook group. Guys, I call this the most supportive private Facebook group on the internet. This group is only for fellow members of the posing course so that you will have a built-in, warm and encouraging community of your peers where you can feel safe to ask questions and grow without judgment and connect with other students who are learning the same things you are. Because we believe that we weren't meant to do life alone. Every student who enrolls in the posing course gets that automatic membership because you are not meant to do life alone. None of us were. And so you're not paying extra for that. That's not a bonus. That's not something you have to add on. We believe that for you to get the most out of this course, we want you in this private Facebook group interacting with a community of your peers. And here's the other thing, right? We know that the internet is filled with more than enough Facebook trolls who should be focused on their own businesses, but instead they spend their days criticizing everyone else's. So I want to be really clear about something. This group is a no troll zone.
Amen.
This is a safe place for you to be with other photographers who are going through the same lessons and same modules as you, who have the same struggles and same successes, so you can cheer together and so you can go through the things that are harder together. And so again, this is a safe and supportive community, and we want you guys so badly to be a part of this. And so just to recap one time, you're going to get all of that stuff that we talked about. It's not $1,000 like people said we should charge. It's not $597, which is the retail value. You're going to pay $397 as a special webinar exclusive, as a thank you from us to you for giving us an hour of your time. And here's the bottom line for us, guys. This posing course is backed with our honest, 100% back money guarantee, because we are confident that if you do the work, this will work for you. And that's why we back it with our honest 100% money back guarantee. And so I want to talk through that just for a second, because I want you to know that there is zero risk to you. All the risk is exactly where it should be, which is on us. So here's the deal. If you purchase the course and enroll, if you watch all the lessons, complete the workbook, and in good faith, tell us that you're not a better photographer as a result of this course, email us within 30 days with your completed workbook, and we will refund your entire purchase. But I just want to say one more time, this isn't a free trial or a refund for any reason. This is an honest, tight 100% money back guarantee and policy, because this course is for photographers who are excited to watch all the lessons and to do their best to implement what they've learned. This is for photographers who are serious about growth. And if you enroll in this course, we promise you that you will grow in your posing beyond your wildest expectations. And so now you're probably thinking, okay, Amy and Jordan, I'm in, I want it. How do I do it? And so here's the deal. We are going to put a link in the chat in just a second. And do us a favor. When we put that link in the chat, go ahead and click on it. Make sure that it works. Technology is a little bit weird sometimes, and we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to enroll right now, so you can get started right away.
And just let us know that it's working, and let us know if it's not working. That's definitely an important one. Thanks so much for helping us out with that.
So go ahead and click on that. And when you do, you're going to see a page that looks like this. And remember, it's going to say webinar only special. This is a limited time special offer just for you guys who have joined us on this webinar. And so when you click that link to enroll, here's what's going to happen. When you click the link to enroll, it's going to take you directly to an order form page, and it's going to look something like this, or maybe even just like this. And you'll know that you're in the right place when you get here. And when you fill out your information and get that $397 special exclusive offer, you are going to get an order confirmation that looks something like this. And when you get that order confirmation, you know that your purchase has gone through successfully. Now, a couple of things just to mention with regard to that. When you complete your purchase, it's really important when you get that order confirmation, don't hit the back button. If you hit the back button, you might get double charged. We can fix it, but we don't want that to happen to you. So just make sure that you don't click back once you see this screen. The other thing that I just want to mention is that you'll get that email within 15 minutes. Now, just understand that sometimes technology is a little weird. So if you don't get it within 15 minutes, do a couple of things for me. Number one, go ahead and check your spam or your promotions folder or one of those junk mail folders in your email. Make sure it didn't go to that email. The other thing I want to make sure that you do is that whatever email address that you use to purchase the course, that is the email that you're going to want to check, because that's where that confirmation email is going to go. And when you get that confirmation email, the coolest part about this course is that you can start right away. This isn't a course that's open enrollment where it opens and it closes. We know that when photographers need help, they need help, and we want to be there. We don't want you to have to wait another minute, another day, another week, another month. We don't want you to wait until next season, right? We want to get this in your hands right now. And so go ahead right now, make sure that link works. When you go to enroll, fill out that order form and you'll get this order confirmation. Expect your login information from us within 15 minutes.
And we just wanted to share with you some feedback from some photographers who have learned our posing system, because for us, this is why we do what we do. It's why we got into education in the first place, is for changed lives, right? If there's nothing more important to a teacher than getting to hear about the befores and the afters. So we wanted to share a couple from a few photographers who have learned our posing system. This one's from Mackenzie from Colorado, and she says, before learning Amy and Jordan's posing system, I felt insecure. I didn't even know where to start when it came to posing at sessions, but now I'm more confident and excited about sessions. It allows me to feel like I have more creative freedom because I'm not stressed about the basics. And I love what she said there, creative freedom. I'm relaxed from the start. It rubs off on my clients, which allows them to let go, be playful, and have fun. It's in those moments that the candid, joy-filled shots are created. Being able to enter a session confident is priceless and creates an all-around high-quality experience. And that's from Mackenzie, who learned our posing system. She's from Colorado. And Jennifer from Michigan told us, I used to feel totally at the will of the couple. Maybe that's the way that you feel sometimes, like you're just hoping the couple will be really good naturally at posing, right? And she said, I totally felt at the will of the couple to make the posing look natural and cheerful. I had no clue what to communicate and what I wanted them to do, but now I feel way more confident and like I actually know what I'm doing, which is so huge, right? And when we think about why we love what we do, we think of Kiana. She said, before I learned Amy and Jordan's posing system, I would freeze in front of my couples and I would go for lots of walks trying to remember my Pinterest posing inspiration. I literally felt like a frustrated child trying to draw a portrait, but only a lifeless stick figure would appear. I just couldn't even find the right words or directions to get couples to naturally fall into genuine, happy, and full of life photos. There was a disconnect to what I saw in my head and to getting the poses I wanted. I felt so discouraged and unable to bring my visions to life. But since learning Amy and Jordan's posing system, I feel confident and fearless. Watching Amy and Jordan pose themselves live in front of my eyes, which is exactly what you're going to see in that demo, gave me the visual aids I needed to help remember when I would freeze during sessions. Amy even shared some secret code words and phrases to have clients do exactly what I wanted by making them feel good while they switched to more flattering and visually appealing poses. Game changer. Now I'm prepared for anything thrown at me during sessions and weddings. During receptions, bridesmaids are introducing me to their fiancés and their boyfriends as their future wedding photographer. They haven't even seen my photos yet, but because they enjoyed it such a fun, stress-free, and efficient photography experience, they want to sign up for their turn. That right there is gold. And those stories just make us so excited, you guys. And that is why we do what we do. And that is why we poured our heart and soul into this posing course.
And I just wanted to jump in for 1 second and say, welcome, Amanda, Paige, welcome, Michelle, Megan, Kristen,
yay.
Joy,
We're
Kelly,
so
Laura,
to have
Ashley,
you.
Danielle, Lindsay, welcome, you guys. We are so glad to have you in the AJ posing course. All of you guys who are getting in and enrolling right now, we are so pumped to get you in class.
And if you're feeling a little nervous about clicking the button and making the investment, I totally feel you, right? I totally understand. I know how scary it can be to take the leap and invest in yourself. We started our marriage living on a teacher's salary, right? And we are total savers by nature. We're big Dave Ramsey fans. We save every penny. We had our coupon binder at the beginning of our marriage, and we tried very hard never to spend any money, right? We saved every penny because it was so valuable to us. But honestly, looking back, our biggest regret is not investing in ourselves, in our business, in education for our photography sooner, because, oh my gosh, you guys, we could have experienced such accelerated, explosive growth and saved ourselves so much pain. And I just don't think we realized how much we could have accelerated our growth. But when you look at these stories of these photographers who just had the courage to believe in themselves and take the next step, we could have been that much more confident. So if you're trying to figure out where the money is going to come from, we've had some former students give us some really creative ideas for how they've found a way to make the investment work for them. So we've had some people offer, I really love this idea, offering like educational sponsorship shoots. So basically finding people who would be excited about investing in your education, investing in your dream, investing in your business. And as a thank you to them for investing in your education, you can thank them with a really great photo shoot using all the new skills and techniques that you've learned. So it's so great because they get to help you. They get to be a part of your education. And then you get to thank them with the best photos you've ever taken, right? Because you get to implement all the things that you've been learning and use them for that.
When we think back on our career in those early days, we're so thankful for our grandparents and for our aunt and uncle, who were some of the earliest investors in Amy and Jordan photography. And the coolest thing is that to this day, now that they've seen the growth that we've had in our business and with our photography, they still remind us that, hey, we were some of the earliest investors in your dream. And that means so much to us. And so when you're thinking about it, find those people.
Yeah. When they handed us $100 to do a session, it was the biggest honor in the world to get to have somebody pay us for our portraits and be able to apply that to our growth. Another thing that we've had students do is just ask for this as an early birthday gift or an early Christmas gift and let the people they love know this is the thing that they want more than, a gift card or a candle or, that kind of stuff. And we've also had students who have run mini session flash sales to be able to basically cover the entire cost of the course in one weekend doing mini sessions. So we love those really creative ideas. We know what it's like to live on a budget, but we also believe in this course so much that we know it's going to be transformational for you.
And so one more time, there are those ideas that we have that some of our core students have used and have been really successful with. And we are going to jump back on now and do a time of Q&A. And so those questions that you've been writing down about posing and even a few questions about the posing course, we will answer those during the Q&A. And so before we jump on, I just wanted to address one thing that we didn't mention. I know a lot of you will have questions about payment plans. And what I wanted to let you know is that at this time, we do not offer a payment plan for the AJ Posing course. This, because you get all the information and everything right at once, it's a one-time payment of $397. And then you have instant, lifetime, unlimited access to all the videos and all the materials. So you can go back and watch them over and over again. So we don't have a payment plan, but for $397, you can have access to everything right away. So I wanted to jump in and just let you know that. And what we're going to do now is we are going to come back on and we are going to give you guys a big smile and a hello. And we are going to answer your posing questions. So just hang tight for 1 second and we will be right there. Let us know real fast. If you can see us and hear us, just let us know, because whenever we switch from one to the other, we always get kind of like weird stuff that goes on. So just let me know that you can see us, that you can hear us, and then we will get right into a time of Q&A as kind of a special bonus thank you, and we'll answer as many of your questions as we possibly can. Oh my gosh,
I'm reading the chats. Thank you guys so much for all your sweet comments and for, first of all, for letting us know you can hear us, but thank you so much for all the amazing things that you're saying. We're starting to see all your comments and we cannot thank you enough. We're so glad that you got so much out of the training, and we're so excited for those of you that are joining us. It's so cool to see how many of you are joining us in the course. And so now we want to get to your questions. So we've got them coming in a couple different places. We're going to try to answer as many as we can. So let's see. Oh, Ashlyn asks, where are the kitties? I love that
the kitties are locked away right now because they like to chew wires and they like to jump from back here forward, and we don't want to have any of those problems. So they are locked up.
We banished them. Yes, we're totally cat people. We've got 2 cats banished in the other room for this one. Okay, let's see. Carolyn, how do you make a session fun while directing? Ooh, this is a really good question. And we dive into this in depth in the course because there's so much to it, but we're going to try to give you some quick hits right now. So for us, one of the most important things is that we're always putting ourselves in our client's shoes and channeling what they are probably thinking and feeling, and then recognizing that as we're instructing. So as we coach our clients into posing, we're always trying to be aware of what they're going to be thinking and feeling and anticipating their thoughts so that we can quickly win them over and let them know that we're on their team and that we totally get them and that our goal is to just make them look great so that they don't have to worry about anything else. So we bring a lot of different techniques to making a session fun. I would say a few of those would be, one thing for us is we really want to make sure that we are smiling constantly. I know that sounds kind of weird because we're on the opposite side of the camera. Like, it shouldn't even matter what our faces are doing, right? You would think. But one of the things for us is we realize whatever energy we bring is the same energy we get back. And that's a huge one. So we're trying to bring the same amount of energy that we want from our couples to them, and then they're able to send that back to us. So if I had to summarize, I would say that is my best quick tip, but we have so many tips for that because that's a huge part of the experience. So many photographers are asking us, how do you get that genuine laughter, right? Because every once in a while you'll get one of those like magic couples that just happens to do it on their own, but it's very rare, right? Most people feel really uncomfortable in front of the camera. It's really natural to feel uncomfortable in front of the camera because it's not natural for someone to be documenting your every move, right? Like, of course, our clients feel uncomfortable. So we have so many different tricks for making them feel comfortable.
So we have a really, really great question from Jamie. She says, I'm a short photographer, only 5 feet 2 inches.
Feel you.
You are a tall photographer compared to Amy's grandmother, who is 4'9" and Irish. She says, how can I still get those great angles with taller clients? So this is a great question. One of the things we would recommend is go out to like a Home Goods or Target or Walmart or Amazon and grab yourself a stool. We take a stool with us to every session because Amy is 5'4", 5'5", 5'6".
He doesn't even know.
In that range. And so a lot of times she uses a stool to stand on so she can get a little bit more height. So grab one of those stools.
For the record, I'm 5'5". I love that we've been married for almost 8 years and he doesn't even know that. I'm 5'5". But even though I'm 5'5", so to someone who's 5'2", that might seem like a giant. Most of our clients are taller than me, almost all of them. So I'm constantly on a stool, and those little foldable ones, they're plastic, they're lightweight, and they're easy to bring with you. We bring them with us to every single session because of me.
Yeah. So we had a question from Dylan. He said, the course looks great. What is the price after the sale is over? Does it go to $597? Yes. And so the webinar special is just for you guys who are here with us on the webinar. And that is $397 for you. And then in the store, you will see it at $597. So you want to take advantage of that special deal if you guys are with us on the webinar. And then we had another question from Kimberly. She said, is everything for the course online? Yeah, the course is 100% online because we wanted to be able to help people all across the country and all around the world. And so no matter where you are, if you have an internet connection and you can watch Netflix as an example, then you can watch all the classroom lessons. You can watch all the videos where we're out on shoots. You can do all of that stuff from the comfort of your own home. So you are good to go with that.
Oh, we have, Lon asks, is there, do you have advice for posing a female who is taller than...
I just want to jump in and say, Carla, Robert, Meredith, Sarah, Ashley, welcome you guys. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, welcome. Do you have any advice for posing a female who's taller than the male? This is a great question. We do absolutely have some tricks for that. One of our favorite tricks is to actually have the male, if he's a little bit shorter, is to have him come closer to the camera, because whatever is closer to the camera is going to appear larger. So if he is slightly in front and she's slightly in back, it's going to make her look a little bit shorter and him a little bit taller. We also love to utilize environmental objects to help us out with that. So for example, if we can find a staircase, we can put her on the bottom step, and then we can put him up a step or two and have them pose that way so that he has more height there so that you can do some of those poses you might not be able to do otherwise. So sometimes we're looking for like slanting hills or staircases where we can then help kind of fix that height difference just a little bit. That's a great question.
So we have a really good question from Crystal. So all you family photographers out there, this one's going to be for you. She said, do you have any tips for photographing multi-generational extended family sessions? Yes. Here is the cool thing is in the AJ posing course, we have an entire lesson just on how to photograph extended family, multi-generational. And so I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give you for doing that, for those of you who are with us right now, is think about posing the families in individual family units and then taking those individual pieces and putting them together. So as an example, when you're getting started, you always would want to start with grandma and grandpa, right? If you have that extended family and you have grandparents, their children, and then you have their kids or grandkids, three generations, 4 generations, let's put grandma and grandpa somewhere right in the middle together, right? Because that's where this whole family came from. That's where it started. And so we want to put them right in the middle.
And we can put grandma and grandpa belly button, hip bone, right?
Yeah, we can.
Make grandma look awesome. Let her love her waistline.
And then what we're going to do from there is we're just going to take each family unit and just ask everyone, raise your hand if you go together, right? And then we're going to put them in their little clusters. And then we're going to bring each family unit in at one time to make sure that as we're placing each family, we can assess, okay, we place them. That looks good. Now let's place the next family versus like, hey, everyone over here. And then all of a sudden you have a total mess on your hands. And so when they can see you posing or placing one group at a time, it's really, really helpful for everyone to feel like you know what you're doing and you're in control. And also so that you're just thinking about one thing at a time. That's something that's really important to us about our entire posing system. And Amy kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but in the AJ posing course, we actually break down and reveal for the very first time, we've never done this before, we actually reveal our posing pyramid, which is our 3-step system and our 3-step process to helping you make one decision at a time. And the multi-generational families things is just one example of that. But one of the things we find photographers struggle with, especially when they're first getting started, but even experienced and more seasoned photographers, remember that time when you picked up the camera for the first time and you looked down at it and it had so many buttons and so many dials and so many things that you just felt overwhelmed? Or that feeling when you go out to a session and you just don't even know where to start because you look around and there are so many possibilities? That's how photographers are with posing, right? They get to a session with a couple or with a family or a senior or whatever, and all of a sudden they freeze up because there are so many possibilities. And it's like everything that you had on Pinterest or you had on your PDF or your prompt card or whatever it is, it all vanishes out of your mind. And so that's why we have that 3-step system in place. So all you have to do is go to step 1.
Make one decision
at a time. And so multi-generational families, anything in the course, we break down our posing pyramid and reveal it for the first time. So you'll definitely want to take advantage of that. Okay, let's go to another question. Oh my gosh, Rita, Marissa, Josh,
Ben,
Anna,
welcome,
Laura,
Kim,
Mallory,
welcome.
Brittany. Okay, cool. Let's get a question here. This is a really good one right here. Let's take Mariel's question, which is, what's the most flattering pose for maternity shoots since you can't exactly make them look narrow at the waist? Yeah, this is a good one.
So we have a really big lesson on maternity sessions in the course because they are a little bit different than posing any other type. Even though there's so many similarities between a regular couple session, like an engagement session or a wedding day, of course, the big change is the bump, right? And like you said, that's the only type of session where we would never do belly button hip bone because it would cover up the bump, which the whole point of doing a maternity session is to flatter and feature the bump, right? So I'm like trying to make a bump down here, but you can't see. So we actually do a couple things that we wouldn't do on a normal session. And one of the things that we'll do is make sure using that same trick that we taught you about creating space between the arm and the torso. So right now, my hands are stuck to my elbows are stuck to my side of my torso, like we were talking about in class. When those are open, it creates all this space, right? So we make sure that when we're placing hands on the belly, when mom is holding on to her belly, that instead of her holding on, I'm trying to get so you can see me, instead of holding on like this, we actually make sure that her arms are open and that there's space right here. So in order to do that, we're going to watch where the hand is being placed on the bump. Because if she goes too far around, see, the more I go around my body, the larger the arm is going to look. And we're trying to avoid that, right? Especially we want to be extra sensitive to our expecting mothers, because for a lot of them, especially when they're expecting for the first time, their bodies have changed in ways that they've never seen before, right? And so they're feeling more insecure. Things are swelling in different places. And so they have a little bit of extra insecurity when they come in for a maternity session. So we want to be extra sensitive to that. So if they're like this, we're seeing all of their arm, right? But if we move to the outside of the bump and we're resting here, now look what happens to my arms, right? So if we're at the edge of the bump, ooh, we got all this space right here. So when we're posing a maternity client, we make sure that we're always have her in a position where you can see space between her arm and her bump. So hopefully that helps.
So we had a really good question that was, is there a limit on how quickly I need to watch the course content, or can I watch it on my own time? That's a really good question. So it's completely and totally up to you. We have photographers who will probably are probably
Binge
starting
watch.
right now and binge watching the entire course, which is a lot. So go for it. It's like Netflix style.
Good luck. Bring some caffeine.
That's right. And they're gonna watch it all the way through, and you can totally approach it that way. We have photographers who enroll in our courses, and then for some reason they're like, you know what? Now is not a good time for me to start watching an entire course, but I want to take advantage of the deal because I know that at some point this is going to be really valuable for me. And in that case, I would encourage you to jump on it. You don't have to start right away. You don't even have to start this month. You can start anytime. Once you enroll and everything is good to go and you have that login, you are in, locked and loaded, unlimited lifetime access. And so you can watch it whenever you want.
So if you're in a place in your life where you're like, you know what, honestly, all I can carve out right now is 15 minutes a day, then just go at it 15 minutes a day. If you're in a position where you're working a full-time day job and then you're building your business on nights and weekends, you're managing a family, you're managing kids, you've got a lot going on, and you're like, I can barely keep myself awake and dressed and moving all day, right? That you can dedicate just 15 minutes a day. The lessons are built into much more like bite-sized chunks. So even though it sounds like an overwhelming amount of content, we break it down so that you can digest them in one sitting at a time. Or like Jordan said, if you're more of a binger, you can do it that way too.
So I want to go to another question. So Rain says, how do you keep your photos from looking repetitive? That is a really good question because there's kind of two problems that we see with photographers, right? As far as posing goes, on one side of things, we have photographers who are like, I don't even know where to start. And then I freeze up on sessions. And then you have other photographers who have been shooting for a little while longer, and they're like, I'm starting to feel stale. I just kind of do the same couple of poses every time I go out. I'm not feeling creatively inspired. And so we have some ways built into the course that I'll let Amy talk about that will help you keep things totally fresh so that you're doing two things. You're producing consistent work, and you're also feeling creatively and artistically really stimulated with what you're doing.
And so that's the main thing that I want to encourage you on, is that we really believe that consistency is key. And so I think sometimes as artists, we start feeling insecure when you're asking about like, oh, like if things are feeling a little repetitive. I think we all need to cut ourselves a little slack and also understand that for business, it's actually a really good thing to be creating consistent work, because when we're working with an engaged couple, it's their only engagement session they're ever going to get, right? So if we're using a very similar system on each client, that means that we can stand behind our work and know we're going to produce a consistent result. It's the type of work that they have been looking at our social media. They've been following along on Instagram or Facebook, on our blog. They've been dreaming of their one session. So if all of a sudden we show up to that session and everything's going to be completely different, that's actually not the best business strategy, right? The reason I love to go to Starbucks is because I know exactly what that vanilla latte is going to taste like. They don't change it up on me, right? I could go to a Starbucks anywhere in the world and the vanilla latte is going to taste the same, and I like that, right? So we're going to show you how to create consistent work, but we're also going to show you how you can change things up, making small tweaks to make your images look really different so you can get a wide variety for every type of client you work with.
And I just want to encourage you guys, we are going to hang for another 15 minutes because we want to give you answer as many questions as we possibly can about posing and about the posing course. So just keep in mind, you have 15 minutes. That link is in the chat. Like click it, get on over there. Make sure to get yourself enrolled, because Kim's question was, are we automatically added to the Facebook group or do we need to find it? It's a great question. So when you enroll in the course, you're going to get an email that's going to give you a link to that private Facebook group. go ahead and click on that link, and then you're going to request to join. And within 72 hours, usually during business, time, like Monday through Friday kind of thing, we can get you in within 24 hours. But if it's over a weekend or something like that, at least within 48 to 72 hours, we'll get you added into the group. And we can't wait to see you guys in there. The group is awesome. We just love it, love it, love it. So let's get to another question because we want to make sure to answer. We still have 15 minutes, so as many as we can get to. Let's see here. I think JC had a really good question about how do you get guys from totally freezing up and not wanting to get photos taken. The fellas. Yeah. So I think there's a couple things that we have to kind of recognize about men and women that are a little different. In general, women are very excited for their photos, right? In general, they're really excited. They're the ones who have scheduled the session. It's either the bride who's been dreaming about her engagement photos for a long time, or a mom who can't wait to get family photos of her kids and her husband all together, or a high school girl who's been seeing her friends get their senior photos taken, and now she's ready for her turn. The fellows are different, right? Because for senior guys, usually mom scheduled the session for him and she picked a photographer, right? And so he is not always necessarily pumped about that.
He hasn't been like dreaming of a senior session and pinning boards on Pinterest, right? Like it's definitely different.
And I think the thing that's the most important to recognize with guys is that even though they might have a tough exterior or a tougher shell, we are all just little people in big bodies. And there's a little boy that's deep down inside of him that even if he maybe doesn't want or isn't super looking forward to the session, I know a couple things about guys. They love to do things that help. I don't know the best way to say this. They want to win, right? They want to win. And they want to make, at the end of the day, they want to make mom happy. They want to make their wife happy. They want to make, their fiance happy. And so guys really like to win. And so we found is that like, if you let the guys know, like, hey, like, I get it. Like this wasn't, this isn't the thing you're looking forward to all day. You've been dreaming about this your whole life, but let's create some amazing photos for the two of you guys together that you'll look back on forever. And I think sometimes when you can be a little self-deprecating and kind of play into the fact that like, that he hasn't been dreaming about like his outfits and light for all this time, I think it just helps kind of build that relationship and that rapport. And then the other thing is make sure that you encourage him. I think that one of the things we forget about is when we're on sessions and we have a guy and a girl, we tend to focus on the girl, but let him know that he's doing a great job. Let him know that he's killing it. You might not tell him, Jordan, you're beautiful, you're stunning, you're gorgeous.
Yeah, probably don't say that.
You're not going to say that. But you might say, hey, like, you're awesome, dude. You're killing it. You look like a rock star, like encouraging him because remember that little boy is inside and that little boy wants to know that he's doing a good job. And so just kind of keep that in mind with the guys. We've had some guys that we've worked with that have had some much tougher exteriors and shells. And after an entire session with us, and we talk a lot about this in the posing course about how we build that rapport and that client experience, a lot of that tough exterior just melts away because of the energy that we're bringing, the things that we're saying. And again, that's just a quick tip, but we share a lot in the course.
And one of our favorite things, I think like the best compliment we can get from one of our grooms at the end of an engagement session is he'll go, wait, we're done? Wait, we're done? That's it? It's over? Oh my gosh, that wasn't that bad. Or he'll say, oh my gosh, that was actually kind of fun. And he looks shocked, like he thought it was going to be the worst experience of his life. We found that a lot of guys just dread the session in advance because they don't know what to expect. They think it's going to be awful. The only experience they've had up to that point with professional photographers a lot of times is like getting their yearbook photo taken or getting like a sports photo taken. And so they think about their experience with a photographer being one that's painful and stiff and awkward. And I think one of the coolest reactions we get is, wait, that's it? Wait, that was kind of awesome. It's like the best compliment we can get.
So we just want to welcome a few people who have just jumped in. I had you guys. Where'd you go? I will say welcome in just a second. I don't know where you went. The thing is moving so fast.
It's all moving so fast.
So I just wanted to answer Danny's question really quickly about the posing course, and we'll just kind of go back and forth between your posing questions and the posing course. Sometimes they kind of cross over. It says, will the course ever be on sale again? So here's the deal, guys. That $397 webinar special is just for you as a thank you for being here. The course in our store is $597. So I just really want to encourage you guys to take advantage of that $397 special offer right now. This is just for you guys as a thank you for spending a couple of hours with us. And so go ahead and take advantage of that because that $597 price is what you're going to see in the store. So this is just for you guys for being with us right here. And I just want to encourage you to jump on that. So let's look and see if we can find another question.
You know how we feel about deals. We love them.
So keep those questions coming, guys. We are going to stay on for probably another 10 minutes and continue answering your questions. So throw them at us and let us try to really help out. And we're going to try to keep it to more of the posing questions if we can. So just keep those questions coming and we'll keep kind of read through them and see if we can get to them.
So I saw a question on what's your, from Whitney, what's your favorite go-to lens for a photographer just starting out on a very tight budget? That's a great question. The first lens that we ever invested in was the 50 millimeter 1.4. It is a great starter lens. It has, it's a prime lens. And so we really wanted to start with a prime lens, even though typically prime lenses are more expensive. We were excited about the 50 because it's a great portrait lens and it's really versatile. You can back up with the 50 and get some really wide shots. You can get in closer with the 50 and get some really tight stuff. The 50 millimeter is still my favorite lens. Over time, we upgraded to the 1.2, but the 1.4 served us so well for so long. And I love how for such a great price point compared to all the other prime lenses, you can get such a great wide aperture. Getting all the way to 1.4 for the price point is a really great one because then you're getting all that creamy, dreamy bokeh in the background. You're getting that really awesome depth. It's great for pictures of one person. It's great for big group shots. So I love the versatility of the prime lens, and we definitely love the way prime lenses allow us to move, or not allow us to move, force us to move closer to the client, farther away from the client. I really think it helps with that experience. So that would be my best recommendation for someone who's looking to invest in their first lens.
And I just want to say welcome to, I think it's Brianna or Brianna, Jesse, Angela, Caroline, Lauren, Dawn,
yay.
Jenny, Kayla, Brittany. We are pumped to have you guys.
You found the list.
Yes, I found it.
They're just coming in so fast.
There's a lot coming in. There's a lot happening.
Oh
and I
gosh,
just wanted to say,
I
wanted to say a thank you to Jessica. Jessica jumped in and said, don't doubt investing in education, especially with Amy and Jordan as your teachers.
Aww.
It will improve your entire photography business. Jessica, I just want to say thanks for that. We do this because we were teachers first and we'll always be teachers. And kind of like Amy said, the thing that matters the most to us of all the things we've done in our own photography business, it doesn't give us nearly the fulfillment of watching other photographers go out there and make a difference with their businesses. Because here's the reality is that Amy and I can only serve so many brides and grooms every year. We can only serve so many families or so many seniors. There's a very limited number of people that we have the capacity to help and love and serve.
There's only two of us.
There's an army of you guys out there. And so our mission is to equip as many photographers as we possibly can with shooting skills, with posing skills, so that all those brides and grooms and all those families and all those seniors can have photos that they love and they look at and they love the way they look, because we have, as an example, 25,000 weddings just in our county. We have a big county, but
crazy?
Just in our county every single year. And here's the reality. If we're serving 25 of those brides, that still leaves so many who deserve to have a great photographer who really cares about them and is equipped to make them look their best on their wedding day. And so thank you for that. It really means the world to us.
And Megan, thank you. Megan says, I agree with Jessica. Just a couple months ago, I invested in the A&J shooting and editing course. It was the best money I've ever spent for my business thus far. I saw a massive difference in my shooting and editing, became so much quicker, straight out of camera, I thought that was SOOC. It's just so excited for the posing course. Thank you so much, Megan. That really means a lot.
So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you enrolled in the AJ posing course and you haven't got a confirmation email yet, just hang tight. Sometimes the system gets overwhelmed and stuff kind of gets like temporarily lost in cyberspace. So just know that if you enrolled and you saw that confirmation page pop up, you're totally good to go. And within the next 24 hours, we will make sure that you get all squared away. So just hang in there. If you got the confirmation page that popped up, you are good to go. I just wanted to answer Lisa's question. How do you deal with clients who want you to replicate another one of your clients' photos? I think it's a really, really great question. What I would say is that we saw a lot more of that, or had a lot more of those requests and questions earlier on in our career. And once we started to develop our posing system and we became confident in our posing system, it gave us a control at sessions that our clients trusted us 100%. And so when they would see our blog and our social media, they would see stuff that they liked. But when we got out in the session, they trusted us completely and knew that we would make them look their very best. And so as we've gone in our career, the longer we've gone, the less questions we've gotten of that. But here's the reality. If our clients ask us to do something, we're here to serve them.
That's right.
This is not about us. This
right.
is about them. And it's always about them, and it always will be about them. And so if one of our clients, and we're out on a shoot, and they say, hey, I really want to do this pose that I saw from so-and-so session. First of all, be honored.
Yeah.
We're honored that they even are looking at our blog or our social media and following along.
It's one of the best compliments you can get.
Ever, right? And then second, absolutely, let's do it right now. That would be great. Let's do it. Boom. Take the picture, and then we keep moving on with the session.
And then we'll let them know, I bet at the next session, someone's going to be asking to do this shot because they saw it in your engagement session, right? And that's one of the things is we always just want to keep building our clients' confidence. We never want them comparing one to another or feeling insecure. And so that's one of the coolest ways to kind of combat that.
And so we just have a few minutes left of our time of Q&A, and I really want you guys to be able to take advantage of this really, really awesome deal. And so if you're hanging in with us and you're like, A&J, I'm close, but you're still kind of on the fence and not sure, throw your questions in the chat and we would love to answer them. Any questions that you have about the course, you can see when you click that link in the chat, we have a ton of information on there. But if there's something that doesn't quite make sense or you have additional questions, go ahead and throw it in there and let's talk about it, because we want to make sure that this is a right fit for you. Because here's the deal. We want as many people as we can in the course as long as it's a right fit for them. And for some people, it may not be the right fit, but for a lot of photographers, it is. And if you're that person, let's get your question answered so we can find out if we can get you into the course and if that's the right fit for you.
I see Rachel has a question that says, do you bring props to the sessions or do you leave that to the clients? That's a really good question. We don't bring any type of props to any of our sessions, whether it's family or anything like that. I think that would be, if we were newborn photographers, that's like a completely different animal, right? Like absolutely newborn photographers supply their own props. As far as us go, when it comes to portraits, whether it's seniors, families, little kids, we actually don't bring any props with us. In our portrait session style guide, we do have a section where we give the clients a couple ideas for styling their session if they want to, but we keep things really simple. The ideas we give them would be like bringing a blanket to be able to lay on the grass, in case we're doing like a grassy session, or to be able to bring like a small toy that might help us get the kids' attention. But we're not really prop focused. I think when clients have their own prop ideas, it can be a fun bonus. But I think the cool thing about the posing course is we basically go bare bones, right? What if you have no props? Because that's what we're used to working with is no props. So if you can rock a whole session with no props, and then you come to a session where the clients end up bringing something fun like balloons or bubbles or something like that, then it's just like an extra bonus element. But that way you never feel like you're having to rely on props to get great images. And so hopefully that answers your question, Rachel.
So let's look at a couple more questions. We got a few more minutes, so make sure you guys are jumping over. Click the link that's there, and roll. We want to have you guys inside. We want to get you in there. Rachel says, what types of poses can you do with a pregnant lady besides just standing there and holding the belly? That's a big question.
Yes.
The good news is that we have an entire lesson. I think it's at least like a half an hour lesson in the course that walks you through everything that you can do on a maternity session. And so if you are out there and you're a maternity photographer, there are hours and hours and hours of content that are going to apply to you. And then that specific part of the course is really, really going to apply to you. And so that's kind of it's a bigger one.
Yeah. And we talk about if you're posing just the mom. So like, let's say the dad to be isn't there, or he is there, but you want to push him out of the frame for a couple and just work on her. So we talk about posing her individually when it's just her. And then we also talk about working with them together so that the bump is featured, but that the relationship is still featured as a couple too. We just got so quiet.
Megan, I'm sorry. I was reading Megan. She said, guys, I'm not affiliated with Amy and Jordan other than watching a free webinar and then purchasing the shooting and editing course and loving it. My family doesn't have the extra, but we made it work to further my business. I'm thrilled to be enrolled in the posing course.
Oh, we're so excited to have you, Megan. And we're so honored.
Thank you.
We take that so seriously. And that's why we poured our heart and soul into this course. That's why it's so packed with content. And we just thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we have just a couple more minutes and then we are going to jump off. So if we think we have time for a couple more questions?
I don't know. Do you think maybe a couple more minutes?
We're going to stay a little bit longer. We're just going to answer some questions.
If you guys are going to hang with us, we'll stay
We'll stay with you. That's right. So we're going to throw those questions in there and we will. Oh, Shayna said, I enrolled thanks to my mom for investing in for me. I cannot wait. That is amazing. That is super awesome.
Such a sweet mama. That's
okay, so let's go and see if we can find another question that'll be a really good one for you guys. So Loretta says, what about flabby arms or older people arms? Great question.
That's really great. So a lot of the same tricks that we talked about, especially using the guy, really helps with the flabby arm situation. So we're really specific about where we want the guy's hand to go. And when he starts placing the hand, so let's pretend, Jordan.
We will pose right now.
Okay. Okay, so wait, put your arm out here like this. Yeah, this is okay. So let's pretend this is the problem. Oh, I'm gonna be the guy.
You're gonna be the guy. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm grandma.
Okay, yeah. So let's pretend that this is the problem is right here, right? Normally, when we're talking about like the older, like flabby, just to answer the question, is normally like right in here, right? So knowing that's the area, I want to basically be able. Remember, Jordan's the girl, I'm the boy. I don't know why we're doing it that way. We just are. So Jordan is the girl who needs the arm help. So if I'm directing the boy, who's me right now, the first thing
it's like a very strange alternate universe that's happening right now.
The first thing that I would ask him to do is to lightly grab on to her bicep. I would say bicep, not flab. That's one of the most important things when posing is that we're not saying out loud the thing that we're trying to cover or hide. So if we know the flabby area is down low, I'm going to try to find the most common area that's closest by that's a word that they would understand. So like bicep. So let's say he puts it here, but the flab is like down here, right? So from there, I would be like, great. And now I just want you to slide your hand just slightly farther down until you're wrapping her up into a snuggle. And so I might say, keep sliding, keep sliding, keep sliding, stop. And then I'm going to wait until the hand's in that perfect spot. And I'll say, go ahead and round your fingers around there nice and snuggly,
and
right?
then I'm like,
and remember, I'm the boy, he's the girl. So now we're able to get rid of that flab right there. And she's going to love the way she looks in the shot. But we didn't ever have to say, like, hey, like, go ahead and cover up the flab, right? And that's one of the most important things for us is we never want to point out an area where a client might already be feeling insecure. So that's why our language is really important. And that's why we spend so much time in the course talking through exactly what to say and how to talk to clients so that the experience is great. I love what Kiana said when she said one of her favorite parts of learning the posing experience was learning what to say and how to say it so that the experience was so good. Before they even saw the photos, they were already pumped. She said the bridesmaids were introducing her as, this is my future photographer, Kiana, you know, to the boyfriends and the fiancés at the wedding. Like there's seriously no better marketing in the world than that, right? So knowing that she can create an incredible posing experience without them even seeing the photos and wanting to book her, that's the power of a killer posing system.
Okay, so we are just about ready to head out. So we just wanted to say two things. One, grab that deal. It's in the chat. Click that link. Make sure you get over there so that you can get that awesome deal on the AJ Posing course. We have so many of you guys that have just enrolled, and we're so excited, to have you. And we just know that it's going to transform your posing experience, the way that your clients feel, the way your clients look. And we're so excited for that. And the other thing we just wanted to say was thank you guys again so much. Thank you for giving us a couple hours of your time so that we could hang out together and talk photography and talk posing and talk a little bit of life. We hope that this has been valuable for you and for your business. And we're just so excited for those of you who have made the decision. I've got so many names flying through that I don't even know what to do with them all. And I just want to say each and every one of you who's enrolled, we're so, so excited to have you. And for those of you who weren't able to enroll and the time maybe isn't right for you, we hope that you have really enjoyed this free class and that it's been a blessing to you. And it's been a real honor for us to get to spend time and hang out with you. And we hope that at some point in the future, we get to catch you in the AJ Posing course. But for those of you who are enrolled, we will see you inside. We cannot wait. So thank you guys so much for being with us, and we'll talk real soon. Bye.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
See you guys.
Goodbye. Thanks.
Bye. Oh, your comments. I can't hang up. I can't hang up. I started to hang up, and then I saw your
Thank you guys so much. It's been so awesome hanging out with you. Thank you so much. I don't want to say goodbye. I feel like the Von Trapps, like, so long, farewell. We can't sing. Sorry, that's like not our thing. No. I'm sorry if your ears are bleeding. But thank you so much for the incredible things that you're saying. That really seriously means the world to us.
It means the world to us.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. We'll see you later.
We won't sing a song. Goodbye.
Bye.